a little bit. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Goodell Multiverse. And today we're doing another special edition retrospective, and we are now on to X-Men 2. Our special editions are always going to be X-Men guys until we get there. We wanted to march right straight forward to Doomsday with the X-Men movies. We had talked about it before, and we knew, with how much is going to be in Doomsday with these guys, we probably want to get these movies in too before Doomsday comes, because we were going to do these afterwards. But I think it's a good time to do them now. We in our special area for it, still in our swim trunks. It's a party, guys, when it comes down to doing X-Men. We got a lot to say, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
So Sammy's going to go ahead and do a history behind the film, guys, and we're going to jump right into X-Men 2, X-Men United.
All right. Oh, boy, guys. So, X2, X-Men United. It came out on May 2nd, 2003. The main cast include Hugh Jackman, Halle Berry, James Marsden, Famke Janssen, Anna Paquin, Shawn Ashmore, Rebecca Romijn, Patrick Stewart, Ian McKellen, and introducing Alan Cumming, Danielle Cudmore, Aaron Stanford, Kelly Hu, Brian Cox as Colonel William Stryker.
Man, you hear that cast? What a cast. That's an
Yeah.
Avengers-style cast.
That's so good. And the other new players here, new characters, man, so cool. Just so cool. As an X-Men fan, there's a couple scenes I can't wait till we get to. Anyways, I'm jumping ahead. I got to give you guys the history behind the film. All right. So following the unexpected success of X-Men 1, the film, Fox immediately moved forward with a sequel, giving director Bryan Singer a significantly larger budget and more creative freedom. Development began in the year 2000, with multiple writers contributing to the story, included David Hayter, Zach Penn, Michael Daltrey, and Dan Harris, while Singer remained heavily involved in shaping the final direction. The filmmakers chose to adapt elements of the acclaimed X-Men graphic novel God Loves, Man Kills, because its themes of prejudice, fear, and government persecution had already resonated in the first film and could be expanded on a larger scale. Rather than introducing the Sentinels as originally planned, the story focused on Colonel William Stryker and his anti-mutant crusade, allowing the sequel to explore Wolverine's mysterious past while focusing the X-Men and Magneto, forcing them, into an uneasy alliance. At the time, Marvel was still years away from launching the MCU. The company had emerged from bankruptcy and was acting mainly as a licensing partner, while studios such as Fox controlled the X-Men film rights. Future Marvel Studios president Kevin Feige was working as an associate producer on the Fox films, learning the business long before Iron Man would launch the MCU. The returning cast had all seen their profiles rise after the first film. Hugh Jackman had become an international star thanks to Wolverine. Patrick Stewart and Ian McKellen were respected veterans, and Halle Berry arrived on set as a newly crowned Academy Award winner after Monsters Ball. The sequel also added several important mutants, including Alan Cumming as Nightcrawler, Brian Cox as William Stryker, Aaron Stanford as Pyro, Kelly Hu as Lady Deathstrike, and Danielle Cudmore as Colossus. Production took place primarily in Vancouver during 2002 and featured larger action sequences, including the famous Nightcrawler White House attack and the raid on Xavier's mansion. Budget limitations still forced some planned elements, such as the full Sentinel storyline, to be removed. Released in May 2003, X2 was both a critical and commercial leap forward. Against a budget reported between $110 to $125 million, it earned approximately $408 million worldwide, including nearly $215 million domestically, making it one of the biggest superhero films ever released at that point. Critics praised its larger scale, character development, and mature themes, and it currently holds an 85% on Rotten Tomatoes score and 85% audience score. Many fans and critics still consider it one of the greatest superhero sequels ever made, and a film that proved comic book movies could be more than simple action spectacles. And that is the history behind the film.
Yeah, pretty interesting. It made a lot of money, though.
Oh,
Made
yes.
money back, which is good to hear.
Yeah. And the reputation alone was well worth it. So.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. I'm going to give you guys a quick little synopsis of the movie here, okay? When anti-mutant Colonel William Stryker kidnaps Professor Xavier and attacks his school, the X-Men must ally with their arch-enemy Magneto to stop him. Mm.
So, gosh, yeah. Well, why don't you read the first the breakdown of Act 1, and then we're gonna get into it from
Yeah,
there.
then we'll jump in because we're just kind of itching to get talking about a lot of this stuff, to be honest with you. So, yeah, let's do a quick little breakdown of this, guys. So, the film opens by immediately raising the stakes. Nightcrawler attacks the White House, nearly assassinating the president and creating national panic about mutants. Wolverine returns to Alkali Lake, searching for clues about his past, but finds new answers. A few answers, I'm sorry. William Stryker is introduced to an anti-mutant military leader who convinces the government that Xavier is a threat. Stryker launches a surprise assault on Xavier's school, resulting in one of the franchise's most memorable action sequences. The X-Men are scattered, Xavier is captured, and the school is effectively destroyed as a safe haven.
Yes.
So,
Oh
where do we
gosh.
start? I mean, we're going to just go
Yeah.
ahead and talk about things that work, right?
Well, I'm going to start off by saying, if I may, in
Yes.
the very, very beginning, when our opening sequence is the animation going through the showing the DNA, all that fun stuff that we loved about the first film,
Mm,
when Charles Xavier is giving his opening monologue, I had to write down, "Sharing the world has never been humanity's defining attribute," and
yeah.
that line is so cool. I mean,
Yeah.
it's very true. Even outside of X-Men, it's just very true. Sharing the world has not been uh, easy in world
We're
affairs.
not really good at it.
No,
As humans.
we're not. No, we're not.
We think
But,
we got some good ideas and we've tried to implement things and people work real hard and
mhm,
put their lives on the line for it. But ultimately, if you really put numbers against numbers, we're kind of failing at this
mm,
sharing this little rock that we're on.
we are, and
You
I
know?
think that line alone sets up what's going to be playing out throughout this film.
Yeah.
Because what I loved most, like the first film dealt with Magneto being the bad guy and X-Men having to stop them so it doesn't cause worldwide catastrophe with turning all the leaders into mutants, all that stuff. This time, it's X-Men having to team up with Magneto against a human that was gonna destroy the world using mutants.
Yeah.
And I think that line is very cool because like I said, it does set up this film and an arching narrative that um it's not just fighting the Brotherhood or fighting Magneto. There's other forces at play that want there to be a war and
Yeah.
want there to be a divide. And so it's just so
Well,
cool. I'm just happy that they dived into this part.
it's what speaks to the complexity of of what X-Men stands for.
Mhm.
This idea of it's not always going to be, good guys versus bad guys. There's a lot of gray area. And where Magneto's wrong about a lot of things, he's right about some stuff, and vice versa. As you get into the movies, you realize, where Xavier's wrong, or where Xavier's right, he's right as well. So it's like you're right. It is very interesting that they chose to do this way, and I'm glad they did because it forced them to deal with, hey, look, there's still going to be someone that's going to do this. Because really, in all honesty, Stryker's the exact reason why Magneto's the way he is.
Mhm.
And it's like if you're going to have any kind of ammo or like give Magneto any kind of room to complain and say, "See, I told you so." That's this movie,
Mhm.
really, and I think that that's something that this movie does real well. I think that's why we see a very cumbersome Xavier as well, because he's kind of disappointed.
Mm.
There's a scene that we're gonna talk about later, guys, when he's talking with William Stryker, that makes me. I've seen this movie a little differently this last couple times I've watched it, and I've realized the brilliance of Singer and what to do with this. And choosing that line, "Sharing the world has never been humanity's defining attribute," is almost very foreshadowing
Mm.
to just even Xavier. I'm very impressed with even doing a small character arc with Xavier in this, of realizing that. We
Mhm.
get a taste of that at the end of Apocalypse
Mhm.
later on. We
Yeah.
see the McAvoy version of him sitting there where he realized we can't just be a peacekeeping group. Like, we need to be militant as well.
Mhm.
And Apocalypse wakes him up to that. Well, Stryker wakes him up to it in this version, or at least before the timeline gets messed with, right?
Mhm.
So I think that that's what makes it real interesting, and yeah, we'll get there. We'll talk
Yeah.
about it, but that's
Mm.
it's deep, guys, and I think that that's what I've always prided about the X-Men is this just isn't. It's not just simple, easy watching. It can be,
Mhm.
and that's what's cool about it. But if you really dive deep and think about these characters and what's going on and what they're doing, it's very deep,
Mhm.
and it gets there. And then one of my first notes about one of the things that works,
Mhm.
it, as soon as you hear Professor X talking and we go into this montage,
Mm.
it's like once again, it's just a whole. You're sitting down in the seat, you're getting ready to go, you got your drink, got your popcorn, or you're sitting in your couch and you got your corn dogs, whatever the hell you're doing, or whatever your weirdos out there you drink or eat, and you're sitting there and you're watching this, that brief moment of this montage and music and hearing these lines from Xavier and knowing that it's going to relate to what you're about to watch,
Mm.
you allow yourself to, oh, I'm back in this world now all of a sudden. Like, oh, I'm transported. Cool. It's nice. Another franchise, like I said before in the last episode we did this, guys, Mission Impossible does the same thing. They give you that idea of, okay, guys, buckle in, get into the world of what this is. And that sets that up. I love movies that do openings like this.
Mhm.
There's several. There's some good horror movies that do it. I'm kind of old school, guys. I don't mind that where they do the credits in the beginning. I've always liked the whole, oh, why is it's so long and there's just music and there's just names. But to me, it's like you're setting the mood. We're getting there. Seven.
Mhm.
When you watch Seven, when we do a retro of Seven, they do this. They do an opening scene in the movie, and then there's a 2-minute credit scene with awesome music and showing like what the serial killer's doing behind the scenes and like
Mm.
just like little flashes. And it gets you in that, okay, I gotta be in this mode right here.
Mm.
And that's what these do. That's why when we didn't see it for the Dark Phoenix. We're like, what's
Mm.
going on?
Yeah.
Like
Oh.
it's. I think it's not just a staple. It's not just a like we're just presenting to you this. It is that whole gear up. You're in this mood.
Mhm.
I kind of wish Marvel had more of an opening like this.
Mhm.
Sometimes, like I get in the mode
Yeah.
that when they do the thing and you see the pages flipping, or like in the new Marvel stuff, you see all the images of the movies. It does get you there. You're like, okay, I'm in for a Marvel movie.
Yeah.
But sometimes I do wish there's a little more of like
Mhm.
you know, I
Yeah.
don't know. Does that make any
Well,
sense?
it's kind of like when we talked about when we did our Iron Man 3 retrospective, and they had Tony do monologues and do
Yeah.
voiceover and all that. And it is a refreshing take. I'm kind of hoping when the MCU does their X-Men film, they start off like this and be like, oh, just to be like, this is a flavor of the X-Men
Yeah.
that you should carry over. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
because just like with the cartoons, that opening thing with the cartoon
Mm-hmm.
of just them like coming at each other and
Mm.
showing the characters, it gets you, oh, I'm ready for what I'm about to watch.
Oh, yeah.
I love openings like that. If you guys do a good TV shows that have bad ones, sorry, too bad you do that. Because if you have a good song with a good little montage
Mm-hmm.
to get, especially with shows that come out weekly,
Mm-hmm.
like Landman, The Madison, and some of the reason why I like those is because for that brief, minute and 20 seconds, I can like, okay, I'm shutting everything out and I'm in the world of this show.
Mm-hmm.
And these movies do it when they do this opening montage. And I talked way too long about that stupid compared to everything else we're going to talk about. I talked like 10 minutes about it. But yeah, I love it though. I'll never get over the music is
Yeah.
better this time. It's more key
Yes.
on to the
Mm-hmm.
X-Men of what we want to hear. I enjoy that so much.
Yes. Oh, yes. Oh, wow. All right. So, what else worked for you in this first
Okay,
act?
so like the whole thing, but
Right?
I got picky about what to talk about because we
Yep.
could be here and talk about their clothes and the stuff behind them and the smiles and
Yep.
in the lighting and everything. I do think that we'll both touch upon it. I'll touch upon my part of it right now.
Mhm.
Um, I This is a great introduction to Nightcrawler.
Mm.
I don't know if it's my favorite introduction to a character though in the X-Men universe. I know it's a big one. I'm not quite on the boat of people that say it's the best, but it is an epic scene. I'm not going to take that away from it.
Mhm.
The cinematography in this scene, the going through the peepholes of the doors and following around, and then just showing how formidable Nightcrawler can be, I
Yep.
think is a really good choice.
Mhm.
My favorite stuff about this scene, and I'll let you take over for this,
Mhm.
is it's creepy. He comes off as very scary when he's bad. And I like that. Alan Cumming did a great job of, oh, he's a scary dude. I'd be crapping my pants, if I
Oh
saw
yeah.
that thing.
Oh my gosh.
I'm glad he's normally nice, because if he wasn't, he'd be a scary suck. He'd be like, I'm on Magneto's side. You know what I mean? Like, he'd make me want to be like, yeah, Magneto's right. Some guys are just bad. and
Yeah.
even mutants. But, Magneto would love him, I guess, in that way. But I do love that his teleportation isn't silent. I like that they're kind of standing and they hear the poof,
Yeah.
poof, and they're like,
Yep.
what is that noise? I like that when he does it, it's not quiet.
Mhm.
But it's quiet, but it's not, it's like noticeable.
Yep.
And my favorite scene in that opening of him is when they're all circled around the president and you hear them shooting in the other room and you just hear him beating them up and you're not in there seeing it. I like that. The suspense of that is cool because they're all waiting for, okay, he's going to come through the door. He's going to come through the door. And they're just waiting and waiting and they hear the guns going off and everyone's kind of looking at each other like, what the hell's going on? Like, this is crazy. Yeah, what a great opening and a great introduction to him, And the first time I saw it was confusing because I kind of was always like, isn't he a good guy? So it's a great red herring to start right off the bat. Like, this guy's trying to kill the president. Oh my God, it would make Nightcrawler was always a good guy in the cartoons and stuff. So I actually, when I first saw this movie back in the day, I kind of was like, oh, did they change characters around? And they didn't. They just did a great job of why they did.
It's just a part of the story.
Yeah, and it's brilliant, truthfully. Yeah. I have some questions about the mind altering thing, but it's just, picking nits when we get to it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's funny. I'm glad you brought that up. Are you okay?
Yeah, my chair just decided to scare the hell out of me. We're all right.
Okay. The chair went bamf too.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Whoa.
It's so funny that I rewatched this morning in preparation again. I've watched it now 3 times in the past 2 weeks just to get ready. And we have another our main timeline that we're working on for the March to Doomsday. So I'm always trying to make sure I'm ready for those things before I'm ready for this. But anyways, I rewatched it this morning and fine-tuned my notes, making sure I had everything. And it was only this morning that it clicked to me about the mind control stuff on what Stryker did. And once it clicked, I'm like, oh, it made this movie even better than I thought.
Yeah.
So I can't wait to get there. But to touch upon the Nightcrawler scene while we're there, I do like it.
Yeah, it's great.
And I did list it as one of my 2 standout moments of Act 1. It is... what a way to introduce a new character to us, a new character to the film fans. And the character for us, what I mean by that is us X-Men fans that knew of Nightcrawler from the animated stuff or the cartoons or the comics and things like that, and be like, oh, he's there, and wow, he is there. Like, I do love that scene where the door flings open and he had teleported so much that he left the whole room encompassed in darkness. I think that's a really cool feature that they gave for his powers, is that when he bamfs away, that there's like this
like a smoke.
Yeah,
stays around.
like this blackish with a little bit of blue like smoke that's there, and it just stays for... it doesn't stay for too long, but once you realize it doesn't stay for too long, and then when that door opens and it's encompassing the whole room, you realize just how much he teleported that whole time, kicking butt. Like, that is so cool. Be like, wow, what a scary presence to show. But anyways, yeah. It is cool. It is definitely worth the hype of people saying that is what a great start to the film and an intro to a character. Yeah, and I guess to move on from that, right after that, we get the museum scene.
Yeah, I'm glad you're saying so. Yep.
Which is really cool.
Yeah, what I like about it is not only is it awesome when Xavier freezes everybody, I just don't know how he maneuvers around everyone.
Right?
I kind of wish we could see a bigger view of it, and it's just him kind of like, as a joke, because it's not just straight. He's like going in between all sorts of different, but it's cool. It works. It don't matter. We're not gonna question it, right?
Yeah.
But my favorite part about this, and this is what's changed my mind about Scott when we get there, and I'm gonna start building on it now because I need to. I forgot, because it's been about 2 years since I watched X2 before I started watching it for this episode. I forgot how in tuned he was to Jean, though, knowing that something's wrong with her. And I kind of want to give it the credit that it deserves, even though we don't get the Scott in this that we always wish we did, and this would have been the opportunity to really do so, even though I still think they dropped the ball for X3, and we did a little talk about that before we started, which we cannot wait to have the same conversation with you guys. But I do blame X3 on not doing with him too what they could have done. But they could have done stuff with him in this. But the one thing they did in this movie that they failed at in the first was I struggled with the chemistry between Scott and Jean in the first movie. Not that it was a failure or it was bad, but I struggled with believing it all the time. In this movie, completely this movie completely changed it right from the get-go. And I do like that Phoenix is foreshadowed right in the beginning of the movie. This because anyone that knows the X-Men and you hear, oh, I'm having trouble with my powers, and here she is there. I just feel like something bad's gonna happen. I love that they did this. It's a great choice because it's like, oh, we all geeks are like, ooh, we know what this means. It's like any other movie, it's a trope that gets old, but this isn't because you know what's coming is insane, right? And I think that's what I like about this museum scene more than I thought I did before. Before I was just like, oh, it's a great way to get him back into it. It's a cliche little Pyro and Iceman have their thing, which I could care. That's a scene that to me could have easily been cut out, but it's fine that it's in there. Doesn't hurt the movie, doesn't make it better either. You know what I mean? Just shows that Pyro's kind of an ass, which is fine. We all know that. You can do that later. You didn't need to do it then, but it works. It still is character development. It works. But yeah, I like this right off the bat. Jean is struggling. Because we left her with this afraid of herself. And now here she is really trying to take a grasp on it. And now it's like, what is this now? Like, what's going on? Why am I struggling again? And I feel like that's something that, it helps with Scott's and her chemistry for sure.
And I can't wait to dive into more about Jean when we get to the end of the third act because you guys know what's going to come in this movie. But when that happens, I have to give you a lot of credit for how you made me felt after Jean, after our first retrospective of X-Men 1, because Xavier basically says what you said to a T. And I'm like, oh my gosh, why did I miss this? It's so good. Anyways, and I have to give credit to Bryan Singer for this creative direction in Jean, because anyone who is a fan of the comics and just a fan of X-Men in general, and maybe even a super fan, will know something about this that Bryan Singer said, this is what I want to do. And a lot of people would say, oh, this isn't comic accurate, but I'm going to challenge you on that because a long, long time ago, back in the 60s or whenever the great Stan Lee started writing the X-Men and creating the X-Men and things like that, he always hinted, or one of the writers at least, always hinted that there's something more to Jean than just this telepath with telekinesis and things like that, that there is something darker and deeper in her. But by the time in the comics that was able to get fleshed out, that's when Chris Claremont took over and he said, I'm going to do the Phoenix and do it this way. But the original intent of Jean Grey in the comics was that this Phoenix Force wasn't an alien thing from outer space. It was something deep down inside her of a greater power that would be unleashed and what that could happen to her, her psyche, and to everyone around her.
Yeah.
And
legitimately like another personality in a way. Yeah.
Yes. And I think a lot of fans will say, oh, what Bryan Singer did to this is not comic accurate. And I'm going to challenge you and tell you this is 100% comic accurate to the original intent of what the Phoenix was supposed to be, where she was from originally. And yeah, Chris Claremont, I'm not poo-pooing on all that he did. He's a great writer. He wrote an epic Dark Phoenix storyline and Phoenix storyline, so credit where credit is due on that. But that is just another iteration of what the original intent was. And for storytelling purposes and like a greater MCU type structure, that works. The Dark Phoenix saga and the Phoenix saga that he wrote, that works. But for X-Men, not outside the MCU, not introducing aliens, not getting into all the comic book soap opera-y stuff that X-Men does get into in the comics, but to be taken seriously as a film, the original intent of the Phoenix is perfect. It's great storytelling. That something deep down inside of her is striving to come out. And when it does, you better watch out. And Bryan Singer sets this up beautifully in this whole film.
Yeah, twice.
And right from the very beginning, where she's having her little headache and things are going crazy, and it's not a headache. I noticed this time when I was watching it and I'm hearing all the voices that she's hearing,
Mm-hmm.
you're hearing Rogue say something that she wasn't saying at that moment.
Mm-hmm.
And it reminds me of what they did with Sophie Turner in X-Men Apocalypse, which is why I love it so much, is that when she was having her nightmares in that movie, she is seeing all that's about to come.
It's a
But
prophecy too.
yes, but she can't figure out who is actually doing it. Is it her? Is it Apocalypse? Is there something else?
Or when.
Yes, or when,
Yeah.
how, everything. And that same thing the Famke is having here. She's hearing all this stuff. Yes, she's actually hearing people's thoughts currently, but she's also hearing other stuff. She can't make it out. And then to your point, Scott says, you've been having these problems for a long time now. This isn't a headache. And she's like, I have this really bad feeling something bad is about to happen.
Yeah.
You're like, yes, we know.
It's awful too.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a perfect setup, and I completely agree with you. Their chemistry in this movie is like husband and wife already.
Yeah.
It is so good. It is so good. Some of the best James Marsden moments in this film is between him and Famke.
Yeah, I agree.
The emotion, the depth, how he's able to act through the visors and just use his facial expressions and everything with her. Oh my gosh, so good. Anyways,
just how they squashed her and Wolverine partway through this movie. They just, you know what? We're done with this.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, yes.
And yeah, because that's a good point that you bring up there. And I know we're going to touch upon that more when we get to Act 2 and they're getting ready for their final assault on Stryker's facility. But that, I get the love triangle appeal of
But
things.
it's all from him.
But yes, that's the thing. They made it clear. And I loved it when Xavier, well, no, not just Xavier. I'm gonna get to that part. But when Logan looks to Scott, well, Scott's in mourning, and he says to him, she did make a choice, and it was you.
Yeah.
And that was true. She told him right off the bat, I love Scott. And you flirt with the bad guys, you marry the good guys. And she made it clear, you're not the bad guys. You flirt with the dangerous guys.
Yeah,
is that what she said?
He forced her to break his heart in the middle of this movie.
Yep. Yes.
She told him, don't make me do this. And he's like, what? And she just walked away.
Yeah, she says
and
this. Like, oh.
So you need to be smart enough to.
Yeah.
But once again, guys, that's the brilliance of these movies. Like, he wouldn't feel this way if it wasn't her that gave her a piece of his memory back when we get to Apocalypse. Right? That's why it's there. And that's what makes it so interesting. And
I love that epiphany you had there because I've thought about that from time to time, especially watching this.
Still,
I'm like,
right? Like,
oh my gosh.
Yeah.
This is.
I wonder he's infatuated with her. She's like,
guys.
She's probably the first window into his healing ever.
This is class A brilliant storytelling and writing. And I have to give the credit to Bryan Singer for being that architect of this whole thing because that's
the whole crew. These guys,
the whole crew. But he basically spearheaded a lot of this, and so I am going to give him his credit and his due. That's fantastic. Oh my gosh. Anyways, what else?
Yeah, I had a lot to say about the jeans, and you said all of it. So that's it's 100% there.
Where do you want to get to next? Because I was about to talk about the meeting William Stryker. I feel like that's the next scene, but
let's do that. I do want to say, let's do that. Let's talk about Stryker right now. Let's talk about Stryker. Let's talk about Mr. Stryker.
All right, yeah. So when he walks into the Oval Office and he's examining where that cut is, and especially in a retrospect when you've watched this and you're watching it again, you're like, huh, you were behind us, dude. We know.
Yeah.
Oh,
he's very nonchalant.
He's very good, very good. And he's like, I thought you were here to talk about schooling. Be like, oh, funny you say that, Mr. President. And Mystique playing Senator Kelly.
It's brilliant.
It's so good.
Yeah.
Like, I love that they picked off from that and brought it into the next film because that could have been a forgettable thing and she could have just appeared as Mystique and you didn't see Senator Kelly at all. But he got his due here. I love that. I love that follow through there. But that is just so cool. I love when he says it to the president. That's a jet. We don't know, but it comes up out of the basketball court. How he says it and us talking about, be like, oh my gosh. They're saying it. They know.
It's very convincing.
Yeah.
Especially to a guy who almost got stabbed to death by a demon looking,
Yeah.
Like, it'd be hard to not give him the go ahead to try this.
Yeah.
Speaking of Batman.
Oh,
I think we
what's that?
just saw a bat. Hoo-wee. We were
Was
talking about
that a
Batman
bat?
earlier, guys. I think we just saw a man bat come by our house. There's a
Oh
big
boy.
bat, and there's a bird that just went by, but we just saw a bat come by. If it
Oof.
attacks us, it's all online.
Well, I got my rabies shot. I'm good.
Yeah.
But he doesn't.
Defend it off.
Anyways, so
I'm gonna drown it in the pool.
no, Lord have mercy. But yeah, I think that it's so once you get into the film a little bit more, the scene you appreciate it a lot more because you start learning why Stryker is targeting Xavier's school. It's for the cerebral schematics to see exactly how it works. And also it's to steal a bunch of mutants.
Yeah.
Because as we learn later on, especially in Days of Future Past and X-Men Apocalypse, thank you, Bryan Singer, is that this is what he does, like what Boulevard Trask did. And he learned from him.
Yeah, it's funny. I find this interesting in this that for Stryker, it's definitely more personal.
Mm-hmm.
And in this movie, it does a great job at that. Is at first you're kind of like, this guy's just like a normal bad guy. Who would trust this guy? Listen to him, warmongering, right? Then later you're like, oh, this is personal, and he knew how to set this up the way it's going to be. He scared the hell out of him, and I think they knew that they had to be involved. Later. We'll get to the end.
Yeah.
I don't want to skip too far to the end, but yeah, no. Stryker's introduction though is great. I like what he says to Senator Kelly or Mystique. When he says, "You sure you want a war?" And he goes, "Yeah, I've been in Vietnam. Been back when blah blah blah." Right? He gets a little vulgar, but he tells him right out, it's like we're already at war.
Yeah.
It's one you're making, right? It's one that you're making.
Yeah.
So believe it or not, Stryker and Magneto are very similar in that sense. In the sense of how they feel about let's just jumpstart this because it's coming anyways. Stryker's definitely got I don't know. How different is Stryker and Magneto, to be honest with you? If you really thought about it, Magneto's willing to kill every human, including let Xavier die.
And Stryker's willing to kill every mutant,
including his own son. It's like they're very much...
Or what's left of him.
Yeah, they're very much one of the same side of the coin.
Yep, it's just for two different outcomes, but it's still the same...
Magneto's really kind of meeting his match here, if you think about it, in a way of...
Yeah,
human-wise, it's his
still
opposite, right?
It's the same viciousness from both of them.
Yeah, because you're not talking either of these guys off the ledge.
No, they're dead set in their ways. And even William Stryker's final breaths when he's saying that they're going to continue what I started. Because, there's always going to be someone that's going to be like that.
Magneto says the same thing a lot.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We're the future, Charles, not them.
Yep.
Exactly. To a T.
Some of the best stuff.
I'd tell you, and that's something I can't wait to get to when we get into Act 2, especially for Magneto and his lines. Every line he delivers, it is an excellent performance. Even the most nonchalant lines be like, oh, I want to hear him read a book to me as Magneto. That's really good.
I do believe Ian McKellen reads Lord of the Rings to you if you get a version of it where he's reads it to you.
Really?
That's so bad. That'd be so awesome.
Oh my gosh!
Can you imagine?
Oh yeah. He's so good. All right, so let's see what else worked.
So my standout moment of this, though, I will have to go. I'm going to jump right into that just so we can keep talking about it.
Yep.
My standout moment. I see you got on here with Nightcrawler. I'll let you say your other one, but I have to pick the scene between Magneto and Xavier when they get captured. This whole sequence of him going in there and like Magneto's demeanor and how he is when he's talking to him, and again, it's fun every time we go to talk about it. There it is on the screen.
Yep, it's playing.
And look how menacing this is in its own way, right? And and Charles is able to read his mind at this point and see, and Magneto's clearly telling him like, look, I didn't tell them on purpose, but you should have killed me because I had too much information, and they're using me as a weapon against you, and it's just brilliant. Like, I love this scene. I love them getting captured scene. I think it's a really good scene. I like the talking between them. I like the menacingness of the feel of it. I enjoy it a lot. That's my standout moment for the Act 1. And there's a lot of standout moments for Act 1, so was hard to pick, guys. But that, to me, I just like this scenario. I like what's going on here.
Yeah, it is a great scene. It really is a really good scene.
It adds levels and layers to what's happening, right? Like, it's like, oh, this is an evil thing that's happening. It's Magneto, and he's part of it, but it's not him, But it is him, and it's almost like, oh, it's just... It's so nice how it's very well done. Very well done.
Yes, it's very cool. The only other thing I'm gonna say that will work for me until I get into my second part of my standout moment is
Yeah, because we're gonna talk about that for a few
yeah,
minutes.
it's Mystique again when she is acting as Senator Kelly and she knows that her motivation right now is looking to get Magneto out of wherever he is. She doesn't even know where he is, and so she knows the Striker knows where he is. So she infiltrates, looking like Lady Deathstrike there, and goes into the room, and that scene transformation of her walking behind it, and she walks out as the Miss Naked Mystique that we all love from the first one, be like, oh my gosh, she's back. And I love she does the voice thing, Striker William, in his exact voice. I'm like, oh my gosh, she's so good. I love this stuff. Anyways, I had to throw out some of those Easter eggs that are on the screen because you guys, when you watch this scene and she's clicking through the computer and you're seeing it, hit a quick pause and look at all those names. These are characters we probably are not going to see, or well, I should say we know now we're not going to see them in the Fox Universe X-Men films, but the fact that Bryan Singer and his team and everyone behind the scenes was like, will be a cool Easter egg. Let's throw in some of these names there that get people talking. That is really cool. You see Betsy Braddock. Or, I'm sorry, Elizabeth Braddock, Betsy,
Elizabeth,
which is Psylocke. You see Cassidy too, which is both one of them is at Xavier's school, which we see in this act 2, Siren. And then there's the Banshee that we saw in First Class. Roberto da Costa, also known as Sunspot, who becomes a big character, especially in the New Mutants. Remy LeBeau, Gambit. Like, it's so cool. Maximoff too, and you know who that is. That's Wanda and Pietro. Be like, Magneto's children are right there. Anyways, Kevin McTaggart, which is Maura McTaggart's son, who becomes Proteus, a big X-Men villain. Danielle Moonstar, another New Mutant. And then when it goes to pulling up the Cerebral schematics and all the files right around there, Project Wide Awake, which is the Sentinel Project. Like, oh my gosh. And then Franklin Richards, Sue and Reed's son. It's a Fantastic Four, but he is a mutant. And now in the MCU, we have Franklin Richards. It's going to be so cool. And then Omega Red and Muir Island be like, we know what these things are. Just for X-Men fans, these are so good Easter eggs. Yes, juicy Easter eggs. I wish I was Mystique at that moment. Just, I'm going to click everything, see what the heck is going on. Yeah. Anyways, it's just so cool. And the suspense music when Yuriko's actually walking to the thing and Mystique's trying to print things out and do things. And you're like, oh my gosh, they got that music down good. That score really well. Like, doom, 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 doom. Be like, oh my gosh, you're going to get caught. It was just so good.
Yeah, it's excellent.
Anyways, yeah. So that's when Storm and Jean go to the church and you hear about
that's right.
Nightcrawler, you hear a little bit of his origins. I love that they kept the religious aspect of Nightcrawler.
Me too.
I think that was important for Bryan Singer because one thing that was very clear that he has said in some of his behind the scenes stuff is when he embraces diversity in these films, because that's what X-Men represent, is that the social diversity that's there. He is diversity of all kinds. It's not just colors, it's also ideologies and thoughts and diversity of speaking and things like that. And so I worry a little bit today that we lose some of that diversityness because some people are either put off by how Catholic Nightcrawler is or how religious another character is. And I think that's important for their characters and for the story that they're telling to keep those elements of them, why they're written that way. Because that's one of the brilliant things about comics is you write somebody for everybody. You know what I mean? What doesn't jive with you here may jive with you really well for another character that may not jive for you another part. And as a guy growing up as in a Christian household, to see in the X-Men animated show Nightcrawler have a whole episode of him being almost persecuted from people outside the church, and Wolverine and Rogue are helping him in the animated show. And then at the end, you see Wolverine reading the Bible and praying. You're like, oh my gosh, that spoke to me so much. Be like, that's so cool that they would put something like that in here. And I love that they kept that for this. And that makes me hope that they're going to do the same thing in the MCU moving forward, that you can have a a guy that looks like a demon, this blue demon, and the way he acts and everything, but you find out he's a hardcore God-fearing Christian Catholic type thing, and that just brings a richness to his character, and I hope they keep that because they nailed it in this movie.
Well, that and it's a staple theme of X-Men, right?
Mm-hmm.
The idea is hope,
Mm-hmm.
and people get hope from a lot of different things,
Mm-hmm.
and religion is one of them.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yes.
so, to be honest with you, if it wasn't for him having that religious grasp and holding on to that hope of who he was, especially after being set up as a potential killer,
Mm-hmm.
he wouldn't have pulled Storm back from the cynicalness that she was going for.
I love that scene.
Yeah, because she's right on the edge of she's one bad day away from calling Magneto up and saying, "You got a spot in the Brotherhood?" Because I just don't trust him no more.
Mm-hmm.
And he puts her in her place and says, "Listen, even in all this craziness,
Mm-hmm.
you have to hold on." And she sees that, like, it's brilliant, like,
Yeah.
fantastic.
Oh, the dialogue
It
when
speaks to the theme of
yeah.
what the X-Men are about,
Mm-hmm.
whether it's through religion or friendship or family or blood or evolution, however you want to look at it, you can go at it any corner. And like
Mm-hmm.
you said, the diversity of that is what makes X-Men so universal.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
that's something I hope the MCU pays attention to when they
Mhm.
do theirs.
I
Not that
agree.
we need to have it, but do it because that's
That's who
just
they
like the
are.
world. That's what it is.
Yeah, exactly.
You see heroes in all shapes and sizes, people that do things every day. That you got atheists working with people that believe, and you got people that believe in Jesus or Muhammad. It's like they're working together too to save people. Let
Mhm.
that show that there's hope there, right? Keep
Yes.
that diversity, because to someone who is a young Catholic kid that needs that hope, needs a Nightcrawler.
Mhm.
And that's what works in this.
Yeah. No,
That's what
I
it has
completely
to
agree.
be.
I love it when he
Yeah.
looks at Storm and he says, "How could someone so beautiful be
Yeah.
fueled by so much hatred or by so much I think he says hatred."
Yeah.
And she says that she's left the world, or she's left pity from the world a long time ago.
Yeah.
And
She's one bad day away from
yeah,
calling Magneto.
she is. And then
Yeah.
he says something to the degree of replace that with faith, replace that hate with faith.
Mhm.
And it does the same motivation,
Yeah.
but you're better for it. And oh, it's so good. I love that they set that up with Nightcrawler and Storm in this movie.
Mhm.
It just it helps her reaffirm her faith in humanity in
Yep.
doing that.
Yep.
And following
The
Xavier.
cause of
Yeah.
all of it, yeah.
What they're in it for.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Which gave her a little individualism that Storm needs.
Oh, yes.
We needed to know that
Mhm.
she wasn't just, I'm in.
Mhm.
I just still wish there was more, but that's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyways, so now let's get on to my standout moment, I would say. My second standout
Yeah, we
moment
gotta
besides
talk about-
Nightcrawler.
Yeah.
Because that's the thing, guys. This first act, they packed a lot into this
Mhm.
first act. A lot of good stuff into this first act.
Yeah.
So, this raid on the Xavier school.
Holy moly.
Every bit of it, from the moment the Logan returns and he volunteers or is forced to volunteer for the babysitting thing, him talking to Iceman in the not cafeteria, the kitchen there. That was so cool. And then how they infiltrated and the kids, just wow. Just how the heck did they pull this off? It
Yeah.
looks so good. Every bit of it. There's not one part of it that I was like, oh, this was lagging here. This was
No.
low here. No. Oh.
This is some of the best Wolverine stuff that Hugh Jackman's done.
Oh, yes, hands down.
And the cinematography of it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, right to when he's like wrestling with the guy in the kitchen with the Iceman there. And then he decides, I can't stop this. Like, he's fighting me. So he bursts the claws and decides to kill him.
Yeah.
Like, and that's what I like about, don't get me wrong, guys, I'm not saying all my superheroes need to kill, but these X-Men movies, they kill people. Like, there's people dying.
But this is Logan doing what Logan knows what to do.
Well, and it's animalistic.
Yes.
He's rah, 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 like, when he did it, it was a choice, like,
Yep.
that he turned into this thing and it's like,
Yep.
and
The
then he
Berserker
turns
mode.
into this like
Mhm.
super protector one-man army
Mm.
in this house where you hear him yelling down the thing, and they look and they're like, what the hell? And it's like, someone needed to warn these guys about this guy out there. You know what I mean? Like, it's like,
Yeah.
because that guy, Logan's no joke, man.
No.
And I love, right to this, he hears it, senses it, smells it, and he just goes right into it.
Yeah.
And Oh,
Yeah.
some of my favorite Logan after he stabs the guy against the fridge and lets it go, he turns back to look at him and the camera pans just right. There's so many things they chose to do with him in this that like, this
Mhm.
is why Hugh Jackman is Wolverine.
Yeah.
If you had any doubt from the first movie that can he keep it up, you don't got to worry about it now. 'Cause
Oh, no.
yes, he can. And if not, I think this is kind of where he really settles into what it means to be
Mhm.
Wolverine is in this movie.
Yeah.
Specifically in this scene and others coming, but definitely this scene
Yeah.
is this whole thing. Then we get our first look at Colossus, which is awesome.
That's another part I wanted to touch upon. Why it's
Yes.
part of my stand-up moment. It's not, yes, it's very heavy Wolverine centric, and he does what Wolverine does best, and it is awesome to see
Mhm.
every moment of it. But I love that they highlight some of these other side characters that you either never get fleshed out or you don't need to. You just know this is a school of mutants. So of course Wolverine's not gonna be the only one fighting back or doing something cool. And so you get a little glimpse of Kitty Pryde when she phases through her bed, and then she goes through every like wall while they're trying to catch her, be like, that's so cool.
Yeah.
And then you see Siren waking everybody up when she
Mhm.
just starts screaming, be like, oh my gosh.
That's
And
an alarm clock right there.
yeah, and most would be like, who is this girl? Well, to us X-Men fans who know who it is, that's Banshee's daughter.
Mhm.
And then you meet Banshee in first class, be like, there you go. We saw your daughter in the future. And it's so cool. Yeah. Yeah. Waking everybody up. Everyone woke up there. And then after that, when Colossus, when he's like meddling up and they're shooting at him, and then it just cuts to them being thrown through the the wall,
Mhm.
be like, wow, this is so cool. This is like X-Men coming together, and they're just the mutant kids, you know?
Oh, I love when he says to
Mm.
Wolverine, he goes, "I can help you," because he can.
Oh,
But
yes.
Wolverine's, "Oh, no, no, you help them because
Hmm.
you can." Like,
Yeah.
it's like
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
so it's kinda like, yeah, we are unique, like, we can do things they can't. I even love the nuance when they shoot Wolverine with a dart, and he, like, throws it out, and he kinda's like, "Oh," like, he
Yeah.
shakes off the
Yeah.
whatever
Yeah.
the tranquilizer is, right? Like,
Exactly.
it's, like, so smart. It's just because of his healing thing, like, he's
Yeah.
able to do it's
It's
so
that.
good.
So yeah, that whole thing is so cool.
Oh.
That's so cool.
And I do really like this almost wasn't my standout moment, but I gotta say that when he closes the door and Bobby and her are like, "Oh no, where are you?" And Stryker comes around the corner and they have their first talk,
Hmm.
like they first meet here,
Hmm.
kind of,
Yeah.
to Logan it is, and then putting up that ice wall. What a genius! I like that he puts his hand up and they both put their
Hmm.
because Logan really wants to know who who and where he's from and why he's the way he is. But this is great between him and Stryker. I like
Mm.
this because Stryker's mean to him,
Hmm.
and just the imagery here. I guess gotta say it's one of my favorite images of this whole thing
Yeah.
of this movie is that ice wall.
Hmm.
What a great choice to do all that with the silhouettes and all that. It was
Hmm.
really awesome. I just
Yeah.
wanted to make sure I pointed that out. So,
Yeah. No, I completely agree. So I guess what didn't work for you before we get into our scores of Act One?
so what didn't work for me? It's simple. Maybe a couple jokes. I think this is one thing that these earlier movies like this kind of do fall short on is I think it's very hard for them to joke a lot. But the whole ongoing joke about Cyclops' vehicles kind of gets old. That's it. I can't think of
Hmm.
this first act is pretty good.
Hmm.
There's a little bit of pacing maybe when it comes down to like how it goes from one thing to the next. Um I do feel like there's some time that goes on that maybe isn't explained, but it's not much, and it's nothing I can even get too nitpicky about. But there's a little bit maybe in the cutting room. There's a little bit of like, you could tell they had to cut a couple things or piece a couple things together to really get to where they wanted to get in a hurry.
Hmm.
But I'm okay with it though. It doesn't really ruin it. But if I had to pick anything, that's kind of what I see.
Mm.
I kind of wish they shaved a couple of these corny jokes for more emotional things,
Hmm.
truthfully. But that's all.
Yeah. I can see that. I'm glad they did go the emotional depth with it though, because
When
when
they
they
did, they do
do,
well.
they do. Yeah.
They still don't quite go as far as I wish they would, but they do go pretty well. They go well.
Mm. So the only thing that I would say that didn't work for me, it's almost similar to what you said. It's not so much of the jokes, but I'm pretty sure that jamming a knife into a car ignition won't start the car.
Yeah, I don't think that's how it works.
I mean, that's a cool thought, but when he gets the claw out and he jams it in and all of a sudden the car turns on, I'm like, did your adamantium claw turn into a key?
Yeah.
I don't know. That's the
Never
only
hotwired a
part.
car, but I don't think stabbing it just does it. Like,
See, I know they didn't have the time. They want to give Wolverine like a cool moment of I'm going to turn it on. I don't have the key, whatever. I get it. And so I forgive it. But I feel like realistically, it would be Pyro trying to use like a spark to ignite the ignition, like hot wiring a car, literally. But whatever. I'm giving it a
we'll let it
pass.
slide.
Yeah. But I'm like, as I'm watching this, I'm like, wait, that doesn't work. if that worked, I'm gonna carry a butter knife with me because who knows when I lose my keys.
Stab a car.
Yeah.
And the car's like, okay, gee.
Yeah. All right. So what's your score for Act 1?
I'm gonna give Act 1 a 9 out of 10.
I did the same thing. 9 out of 10.
Yeah.
All
very
right.
similar there.
I will read Act 2 then.
All right, let's jump in.
All right, the X-Men focus on survival and forming unlikely partnerships. Wolverine discovers Stryker's connection to Weapon X program and his own lost memories. Magneto escapes prison with help from Mystique's Iron in the Blood plan. Storm and Jean Grey find Nightcrawler and convince him to join them. The X-Men and Magneto's Brotherhood temporarily join forces because Stryker threatens all mutants. Jean Grey and Wolverine's relationship deepens and clarifies. The team infiltrates Stryker's base at Alkali Lake. Stryker forces Xavier to use Cerebro to target and kill every mutant on Earth. I actually think that last sentence there is more to do with Act 3.
Yeah, it jumped around a little bit there. We already have done this stuff with Nightcrawler, so we just won't touch on it again.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, let's jump right into like what we did like about this though, because I got some stuff I want to talk about.
Okay.
Let's talk about right off the bat, for what worked, I guess, just to get there, is this is where some of the movie does have some faults for me. But nothing. I mean, guys, nothing real bad. So I think we should talk about Magneto's escape first.
Okay.
At least for me. I love it. What a genius thing to do with the iron in the blood and him sensing it and him getting out. And it's a great scene. But the only thing I really wanted to point out in this theme is the scene, and I'll let you talk about it, is I'm glad they gave Rebecca Romijn a moment to be herself as Mystique too. So she's not just somebody else as a human, but she's actually herself. And like, I thought that was real smart, and it was a good way to use her for that situation. Yeah, I enjoy that a lot in this whole him breaking out, and I'm glad he's breaking out this way. I like that it's like a really menacing kind of way, and Magneto takes iron out of a guy's blood and makes plates that he floats on. I mean, come on. Who does this stuff? Right? Like, it's just, and it's Magneto, man. Like, so he's just how creative you can be as someone that all his power is manipulating metal. And he can think of different ways, man.
That is genius.
It's so smart. It shows his age, and it shows that he is one of the strongest mutants because he's been around. He's been doing this for a long time. He's really messed with his abilities and knows what he's capable of. Because even if you were a guy that could do that, would you think of that? It's just to think of how to do it.
Well,
and it's almost like he's a connection with the metal. As soon as he walks in, it's like he can feel it, and he's like, You see the smile he has when he's laying down. How is it we talk about it?
It's right on the screen right now. I think also it really shows, without like saying it, the kind of the connection he has with Mystique, where she's not communicating with him throughout this whole
They
thing.
didn't talk about it. It wasn't like a plan.
Exactly. She figures out where he is. She figures out all the bodyguards there, or not bodyguards, the security guards there, and all the police officers there, and she targets one of them that she knows frequently goes in there, knowing if I give him too much iron, he's gonna sense it. And their detection, they can't stop him from working because his blood has too much iron in it. And it's genius. It really talks about their relationship together, where they are they're in sync. It's so cool. And then how he breaks out with turning these all this iron into 3 little balls, and then they're breaking down all the glass, and then how
Mhm.
he's hovering where he's putting his hands like
Mhm.
this, and it's flying around him. It mimics actually in the first X-Men, those balls are going back and
That's
forth.
right. Yep.
It's just the same thing, just flying around him. And then he just does this, and they go through the door. It's so
It's
cool.
genius. Yeah.
It's just so it's simple, but he's a commanding performer when he does it. It's so good. It makes me so excited from some of the stuff that we've heard of Ian McKellen say what he's doing in Doomsday, where they said that they want him to really show rage, and he yelled out something on a stage to get it. I can't wait for us to see those expressions on the big screen again,
Yeah.
because what we're seeing here is gold from him.
Yeah, and to see
And
what he can do and like the power that Magneto has, I can't wait to see what they got
oh
in
my
store.
gosh, I
hope it's
cannot
epic.
wait to see
Yeah.
Doomsday for that reason alone.
I know. I
Oh
love things
my
going on.
God.
Just knowing that he's doing it makes you go, I just.
Exactly. And he's openly saying, "Oh, this is what they're having me do, and I have to yell out something that I feel really passionate about." Be like, "Oh my gosh, we're gonna get a performance. We are just gonna get this. Is so cool." Anyways, whew. So yeah, Magneto, fantastic. All right. And what's the next thing we want to talk about? I guess it's maybe Bobby's parents' house. That scene, since we're rolling along into that.
Yeah. I'll go off the bat and just let you know this is in my what didn't work section though.
Okay.
It's
All right.
Bobby's parents' house.
Okay.
Yep. I think this is a section of the movie or a part of the movie that troubles me a little on. Doesn't trouble me, but it bugs me. I wish there was more care taken with it. I get it. You know, I don't have a good argument, and you could easily just tell me, but this is what it would be like. I kind of wish this is one of those moments though that they would have had a little more intimate, emotional feeling behind it. You know, it just doesn't feel played out right. It feels used just to get the X-Men together, which ultimately is what happens. It feels like a decent moment that adds on a really cool little action scene that gives them a reason to have the X-Men find each other. I really wish they would have jumped a little deeper into this feeling of what it would be like to be rejected by your family, or at least by one of them for sure, you know?
Yep.
And because I just don't feel like it was very earned, you know? And I think
Yep.
they tried real hard, but I'm like, maybe they should have maybe this is where they could have cast a couple big known actors to just play his parents, to give that one quick cameo, neat, oh wow, look who's in this, is his dad, just to give like a little bit of see people, this is what it's like when your kid comes home and tells you something, then there's something you don't want them to be, you know? And I feel like it was glossed over a tad, and it just was another stepping stone. And I think it was a lot of time wasted. So then when I look at like moments, I would have rather gotten 10 more minutes of Storm and Nightcrawler talking, you know, and more, or not 10 minutes, but I would have gotten, you know, a few more lines out of that, you know, would have been better than what we did get.
So I'm going to agree with you here, and this is where I'm going to come at from this angle. They set this scene up really well. I feel like it was cut short though to provide an action sequence and to show another moment of Pyro's bad. We already know he's bad. We kind of know from the very beginning of that museum scene what we're gonna get with him in the future. And I agree with you that if they didn't do that with Bobby's brother calling 911 and all that, I think we could have gotten a really good, more emotional moment, because this is the equivalent of.
They could have done all the action stuff still, but it just would have been a better moment if it was felt heavier, right?
This is the cool thing about what mutants kind of represent in real world scenarios. Bobby coming home to tell his parents or reveal to his parents, because he basically came home because they're running away from craziness happening, but they're seeking refuge. But that's when he decides, I'm just going to let my parents know what I am and that I'm a mutant, and them trying to understand what that really means and accept it and things like that, or just to talk about it. it's the great equivalent of a kid coming home and telling their parents, "I'm gay."
Yeah.
And I think that that's what they were trying to set up with this, which is one great reason why X-Men are so cool, is because it's really representations of different types of people, and you're just using mutants as that kind of replacement for it. And they were touching upon this really, really well until it got to the action scenes. And then that's why I feel like it kind of was cut short. I
Yeah.
wish it was a couple more minutes longer, because I did love and appreciate the dialogue of his mom saying, "We still love you. Have you ever tried not being a mutant?" It's
It
those
just felt
same.
cliche, right? Like,
It did feel cliche, but also
yeah.
felt like a natural question that parents who wouldn't understand what their kids are going through, and they're trying to understand it and trying to be like, "But are you sure?" Things like that. I feel like every gay person, especially during that time, that resonated with them, because that's what they've been through when they had to tell their parents, "I'm not what you probably thought I was when I was growing up," type thing. And I think that that was a great example of it, and I appreciate them going that far to talk about it, because guys, remember, this is 2003 when this movie came out. So this is before like gay marriage, this is before all this different stuff. This is when, they were still at their the gay community was at their fight of trying to get that equality. And so demonstrating it in this metaphoric example with mutants, I thought was really cool and well done. It's just, again, I feel like that I don't mind. I'm not saying I don't like the pyro scene that's actually on our screen right now of him blowing up the cars and all that stuff, but I just felt like that was the moment where it could have lasted a couple minutes longer before jumping right into police officers are surrounding the house type thing.
Well, in a movie that does real well at the nuance of all the different angles of how to look at this, whether it's Nightcrawler with Faith and all this stuff,
Yep.
they treated this moment like it was just like, okay, we're gonna do this real quick.
Yep. Yeah.
And to me, it's like this is like the pinnacle of why these kids come to this school.
Yes, this is the reason why humans and mutants have this divide, is the one won't accept the other.
And you took away from this actor playing Bobby a chance to actually have a moment that's why I say pick a couple seasoned actors. Sit with him. They all shouldn't have been sitting in the living room with him together. It should have just been the three of them while the others were all in the kitchen with Logan
Mhm.
and them having this conversation.
Mhm.
And it would have been a great scene of just a moment away from what's going on in this movie and relating to you as an audience.
Mhm.
This is how hard it would be if you were this, right?
Yep.
Think about coming home and telling your parents the thing that everyone's afraid of right now,
Yep.
which right now is mutants, right?
Mhm.
So it's like, why'd we pick we're so careful about what we say and do with everything else, but this scene is just, let's just be as cliche as possible.
Mhm.
It just bugged me. It rubbed me the wrong way. It's the one scene that if I were to go back in time and I was ever on that set, say I was in charge, I could whisper in Brian's ear, I'd say, make this better or don't do it.
Mhm.
You know, truthfully.
Yeah. Yeah,
So,
I can see that. Yeah, it's
I gotta be
it's
honest. Like,
it
guys,
they
I
cut
love
I
this
feel like
movie
they gave it
still.
the short end of the
They
stick for
gave it the
that
short end
scene.
of the stick. It's not bad. It
Yes.
doesn't make me roll my eyes and hate this movie,
No.
but it does make me go, that could have been done better.
Yes. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
I completely agree. So, did the pacing hold up for you then?
It did.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it did.
yeah, for sure.
It did for me too. Do you have a best character moment for this? Because this, for my best character moment, it goes to the next scene. That's the end of Act Two that we haven't talked about yet.
My best character moment in this for sure is Storm and Nightcrawler's talk.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna have to give it to both of them because I think that moment is very important, and I think it's one of those highlight moments of the movie
Mm-hmm.
where him going as deep as we talked about the meaning of all this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
That moment without shoving it in your face, they set you up, and this is the swing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And this is what they're doing, and it's just to me, it's just as equivalent as every time they talk about, hey man, we gotta keep trying.
Mm-hmm.
It's just this moment because, like I said, she's a bad day away from she's stubbing her toe, calling Magneto. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
she's had it with what's going on. They're hunting us. Look what they're doing. You tell me what I'm supposed to think, and he tells her, like, look what they've done to me, and I'm still
Mm-hmm.
got to hold on to it, right?
Yep.
And that's I mean, if that's not what Xavier would say, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yep. I completely agree. I love that that's the moment that you picked too. I should have picked something like that that's a little more emotional like that, because that really is the best time we get so far of Storm in this universe.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that they did that. I'm glad they at least cared enough to do that for her. Give her something.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of picked for the best character moment. It does go along with Storm, but it's more of her using her powers and then Jean tapping into that Phoenix power a little bit just to do it with those jets going after them. That was a genius thing to have Storm just throw up all those tornadoes to get rid of the jets. And then all of a sudden there's 2 missiles and then Jean does blow both of them up, but one was just a little too late. Oh, it was something.
This scene you're talking about,
Mm-hmm.
do you have more to say about it, or can I go ahead and say something?
Go ahead and say something.
This scene almost made my what didn't work, though.
Oh! All right, guys.
I don't mind. It's not even the Jean stuff.
Yeah.
I'm cool with that. First of all, if you got this really cool jet, you don't have any anti-missile things on this thing at all.
What they are, they're mutants. When Wolverine says, "Are there no guns?" or what's the exact wording he says? Is there no weapons on this ship? I immediately said out loud before Storm did anything, I'm like, "You're mutants. You are the weapons." And then she does it. I'm like, "Yes."
Yeah, but I mean, even like a normal ship has like those when a missile's coming at you and it's locked on, you push this button and it shoots out these things that are like that. Then they work great. You don't even need to try. Like our Air Force uses it today still. Like you don't think that it still would have some countermeasures on it, like at all? I understand not having guns. I understand that they're not, but these aren't guns. They're just countermeasures. And then on top of it, we have this issue where the plane's crashing, right? And they can't, no one can do anything about it, which kind of makes me wonder, could Storm have maybe done something with weather to slow them down?
Mm-hmm.
Then the other thing makes me think of, I understand the biggest thing you go to is why can't Jean do it, right? But we all have to understand she's going through something right now.
Yeah.
So we can't rely on that.
Her powers are on the fritz.
And I'm okay with that not being something that's a problem.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same, why couldn't everybody just hold hands and Nightcrawler just teleport everybody to the ground? I know he's like, I have to see where I'm going. It's like, well, you do have a giant hole in the back of the ship. And you literally pop out to get Rogue, and then you bring her back to the crashing plane. You know what I mean? Instead of to the ground. There's some logic things in this that made me go, this is a cool action scene that wasn't thought out. Like it's a great action scene. It does not hurt the movie, guys. It takes a 0.5 off the scale when it comes down to points on this movie. Only because if you sat down and rethought the scene out, you'd be like, yeah, we got some holes here. The abilities of these people, if he just turns around, looks at the ground, everybody holds hands, poof, he pops everybody out of the plane and they're on the ground and they're safe. Or at least save the one and not bring her back to the crashing plane. And then sit there staring at the ground with everybody while they're crashing when you can teleport to that ground safely. Like, I don't know. It's like there's parts of me are like,
But then you couldn't get a cool Magneto moment when he says,
that's the only reason it's okay.
When are these people going to learn how to fly?
The only reason it's okay is when they realize they're not crashing and he's just like holding the whole thing. I'm just like, okay, it's worth all that. It's worth all that crap.
Yeah.
Yeah, but some of the Celia, he's got her. It's like, let's go back to the most dangerous situation you were in. That's like you falling out of a burning building. I'm going to catch you to put you back at the top of that burning building.
Oh my God.
It's like, I'm not quite sure what you're doing here. It's like the only one in this that shouldn't worry is Logan, but he has it's a weird going joke that he's afraid to fly, which he shouldn't be because he can't die, but he just is.
Still, yeah.
But I love that it plays out always. I mean, he does it all the time. And, but it's like, really? Out of all these people? I mean, gosh. If you did Storm right, she'd be flying by now. What's going on here? Like you are weapons and you're full of mutants and you're worried about the plane crashing. Leave the plane. Leave the plane. You all are capable of doing this. And somehow leave the plane. Like it's like why are you acting like you're crashing? Like you just leave the plane. But see, that's what I mean. Like this scene needed to be thought out a little better because it works and it's okay and it is a fun scene. But it just was like it just glares at me to just leave the damn plane. Just leave the plane. Sorry, X2. I don't want to crap on you, but man, it really did. I'm like, why didn't you just do that? Well, yeah, why can't Storm just fly out, grab one person with it? Or why can't she slow it down with weather? Or why can't Logan's fine? He could just sit in the plane the whole time. He'll be laying there 10 minutes. He's all ready to go. I don't know. I struggle with this.
If they did give Storm and Jean a little bit more of, and I know we talked about Jean, we can forgive her for her power glitches.
I completely let that go because she could have stopped the whole thing no matter what. But
she could have, yes.
She's not. Yeah. She can't though because she's
she's dealing with stuff.
She's turning into something. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, both Storm and Jean in the comics can fly. And so at least for Storm in that case, and in X3 she flies. Like in the next film, she has one or two moments where she's flying with doing something with tornadoes. Or I don't know what it is.
Pretty sure she floats up in the air in the first movie. Does
she?
She? Doesn't she float up when she strikes Toad?
She does in the elevator. So why
she's just gonna sit in this plane and kill herself? Like,
at least they got her hair right in this movie. So good. So I'm just gonna say that.
What an awful way. These guys were a plane crash away that didn't need to happen from this whole movie not working. Like, oh my gosh. Everyone would have been dead, and Logan would have been like, we could have handled that better.
But like you said, at least they gave the Magneto line to make all that could have been, should have been, would have been better.
I will say there's a lot of convenience. He happens to be where they are as well.
Yes, like how did that happen? Him and Mystique are just sitting there.
So they escape and they're just walking through the woods.
Like, yes, yeah, right.
There's a better plan. You know what I mean?
Like how
he's gonna go where there's no metal. Like,
yeah.
Like, it's like, see, guys, this is a great idea that someone needed to say, okay, let's make it work then.
Yeah.
And it just kind of was like, well, let's just hope they don't mind. And if it wasn't for the rest of the movie, we would have minded. But the rest of the movie makes me go, oh, yeah, that scene. That's how I feel about this scene. Is like, oh, yeah, that scene.
Yeah.
And it's like, but it does hurt it a little for me.
Yeah, I hear you. I hear you, man. All right. So what would your score be?
So did we cover everything we would need to cover in this one? Yeah, because that was that there. So I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. I do believe this deserved a notch down because of that. Mm-hmm. If it wasn't for it being entertaining enough and just not caring, and because their powers haven't been so much, like haven't been in your face that much, you almost forget, oh yeah, Storm couldn't fly.
Yeah.
You know, because it took me 20, I've watched this movie 20 times, and about the 10th time I realized, why doesn't she just fly? But it's like, you know, it'd be like watching Iron Man crash in a plane and dying. It's like, it's not going to happen, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because he's going to have a suit hiding in the shoe or something. Because it's just Iron Man. So, like, so to me, at the very least, I will say, if you just turn your brain off for a second, it's a fun action scene. But it does lose a point because some logic in there makes me kind of go, yeah, guys, great idea, just not really done well, I think.
Yeah.
And so it's the only time the CGI is a little, but that's okay. It's still okay. I don't try not to give too much trouble when it comes to CGI, guys. Only when it's god awful in a really good movie is when I have a problem. And this is okay, but it's not the best.
Yeah. So you gave it an 8 out of 10, and I gave it an 8 out of 10 as well.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Isn't that funny?
Yeah. Yes. But you make very valid points, sir. Like, oh boy. All right. Yeah. So, why don't you read Act 3 then?
Okay, Act 3, y'all. Starting to sound like Yondu.
I'm Mary frickin' Poppins.
Yeah. I'm Mary frickin' Poppins, y'all. Yeah. Is he cool? Yeah.
Is he cool?
Yeah. Okay, so Act 3 of X2. We already did that movie.
Yeah.
It just shows how good it was, right?
Oh, right.
Everything converges at Stryker's underground facility. Mystique successfully infiltrates the facility, allowing passage for the X-Men to enter. Storm and Nightcrawler find the taken mutant kids. Wolverine confronts Lady Deathstrike and Stryker at that point, leading to one of the film's most brutal fights. Wolverine learns more about his Weapon X origins and that Stryker helped create him. Jean finds a mind-controlled Cyclops and clash, leading to a crack in the dam's infrastructure. Magneto and Mystique discover Xavier, but instead of rescuing him, they hijack the plan and make Xavier target all humans instead of mutants. Nightcrawler and Storm reach Xavier and convince him to stop Cerebro. During their attempt to flee, Jean Grey uses her powers to hold back the collapsing Alkali Lake Dam while the X-Men escape. Jean sacrifices herself. I'm turning the page, y'all. Apparently dying as the facility is destroyed. Stryker is left behind and dies when his dam floods the area. So, you know, I see that goes into some details, but we're going to talk about those. So,
yes, yeah. So let me start off right off the bat for Act 3 that goes right into from what we ended on Act 2 right into Act 3. I love this scene of Magneto and Jean and Storm and them talking around a campfire in the woods.
Great scene.
I think, you know what it reminds me of? One of my favorite video games is X-Men Legends 2 Rise of Apocalypse. And all those cutscenes, this reminds me of what one of those cutscenes would be, just in live action. And I just geek out at that. Yeah. I loved every moment of it. Everything that Magneto says, of course, sounds cool with this gravitas, with this, it's so cool. I'm trying to think of specific things that he said, but he explains to them, he's like, oh, and when Jean's like, how did he even know where Cerebral was? And Magneto's like, oh, I told him.
Yeah, I told him.
Yeah, I helped build it.
Yeah. And what's he say to Rogue that's so like off the cuff?
Oh my gosh, I wrote that down. I wrote that down because it was so good. We love what you've done with your hair.
Yeah, that's awful. I think they say that in the jet, right?
Yeah, later, on their way over after the campfire. But that's fine because that is. Yeah. I tell you what, that's one of my favorite things. I don't think I mentioned it on the first X-Men 1 retrospective, but I love the Rogue got the white streak in her hair from what happened with Magneto.
Yeah, me too.
And I've actually heard people online complain about stuff like that. We actually heard recently someone online complain about how Xavier loses his hair to Apocalypse. And I gotta tell you guys, it's gonna happen a lot. Actually, that's right on the screen at this moment when he makes that comment. Anyways, so good, so good. But I gotta tell you guys, this happens all throughout the X-Men films, and in some of the best MCU stuff, you see some of these little character details. You think, oh, that's a little obscure. Why does her hair look like that? Why does Storm get her white hair? What makes this different than that? Things like this. And this is what I want. This is what you should want to see. It's something traumatic or stressful or something that happened to them canon in the story that made them look the iconic look that you guys love them for.
Yep.
So it makes sense. Why is Storm's hair white? Apocalypse turned it white when he upgraded her powers. That's pretty stinking cool, guys. How does Rogue have that white streak in her hair and have it be natural like that? Magneto basically sucks her life out trying to do his thing in X-Men 1. And why does Xavier lose his hair at a youngish age like that and becomes the bald Xavier that's iconic? It's from Apocalypse? Oh my gosh, you guys that don't like this, something's wrong with you.
Yeah, even how Xavier loses his ability to walk, they changed.
Yeah,
for the movies, and they're better.
Yes.
Didn't he lose it in horseback riding in the comics or some crap?
I don't know. I don't remember.
Comment. We'll look it up. We'll correct it next time. But it's not a cool way like they did in the movie.
It's not from Eric. It's not from Magneto.
Right. It's right.
Isn't that so rich?
Much better than it is. Because he's doing the careless thing where he's like boom, 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 and then boom.
Then all of a sudden, boom.
Oh, and it makes that friendship intense because that means he's always felt responsible for that too. Even if he's combative with him, he understands that was a casualty of their whole situation, right?
Yep. So I love
makes it so much deeper.
Yeah, I love that gets not only mentioned here that what happened in X-Men 1, but it's Magneto saying it just the right way. We love what you've done with your hair.
Oh yeah, because he really is just kind of. That's not even nice.
No, that's not. Be like
the way he commands the scene at the fire too.
Yes.
Like first of all, the actor. What do you do? You just let him go and you just follow, right? So Ian is the best there, and he's teaching when he walks through the thing when he's talking to Logan, he just approaches him, and he tells him like, I'm not gonna take those chances. Like, how he says it with his eyes, it's just so good. He's like, I don't take those chances. I won't. Right? Look at that face.
Yeah.
Like he just gives that like you stupid ass. You know what I mean? Like who do you think you're talking to? And it's kind of like how he acts around the fire. He gives that look of like this is not my first rodeo.
Yeah.
Like, you guys don't scare you. Everyone's like, should we trust him? He's like, he's like, okay, whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, listen, this is a fact. Here's some exposition. This is what we got to do.
Yep. Well,
we're in on this, and you're going to help because you have to.
What I love about that too is that he is basically telling them we have to form this alliance because we're all going to die then.
And it's him. Because it's usually the good guys trying to convince bad guys to help.
Yep. No.
In these movies.
Yep.
This shows the.
It's going to take everybody.
Yep. Well, this also shows how long he's been around, how many times he's dealt with this. He's not no spring chicken. You know what I mean? He's like, listen, we got to set our stuff aside to stop this guy from doing what he's doing. Dan, I think in his mind, stop helping save Charles is in his mind. Although later, I don't think I struggle with the idea that he goes into this in the end knowing that he's going to do what he's going to do. I think he goes into it and then he realizes,
I think it's a off the cuff thing.
I do.
I think he really wanted to save
rescue,
him.
And it's a stopping striker, but then he realizes
he sees an opportunity.
Right.
Yep. And he's not doing it to hurt Xavier, although he knows that if that did happen, Xavier would feel devastated. But at the same time,
well, Xavier would ultimately, he knows he would die because he knows the damage. He's aware of what's going on right now in that moment. But Magneto says he'd give his life up for his cause too. And he's told Charles he'd give his life up for it too. Even yours, Charles, I'd give up for it for his cause.
Yeah, because he says goodbye, old friend.
Yeah,
almost like that was his last But
it's not evil, It's not that I hate you. It's that this is just how it has to be done, and here's the opportunity. And you notice Xavier never holds it against him.
No,
he's just like, yeah, I get it, you asshole.
Basically,
I'll just beat you in chest next time because he cheats. You're telling me not all times. He doesn't see him getting better at it and be like, I'm just going to read his mind. Okay, you're going to know. You know what I mean? Like, it's like nonchalant. Come on. Anyway.
That's so true. Yeah. Oh, gosh. All right. So, what else? What else worked in here?
So what I love about this here, I want to touch on this. First of all, the Mystique getting in there is awesome. So that's Mystique stuff. It's my favorite things. I love when even Wolverine's like, it's pretty impressive. And Magneto's like, you have no idea what this woman can do.
Yeah, I love that scene. I love when Stryker says, you wouldn't think I wouldn't recognize my own work? Kill it.
Yeah. He realized that once he's got, I wonder what it was that tipped him off.
I think it was the smile. Because the fake Wolverine Mystique gave him a little, be like, oh, no, he wouldn't. You think I wouldn't recognize my own work?
Yeah.
Shoot it up.
It shows the intelligence of Stryker, though. Stryker's I do like when he tells that one guard, he goes, under no means necessary, let anybody through or kill anyone that approaches, even me.
Yeah.
It's like, he's saying it for two reasons. One, he wants this to happen. And two, he knows it probably could be somebody else.
Yeah, probably could be Mystique.
Like, okay, it could be someone else. So that means he's never going back to that door. I'll tell you that right now. He's like, I can't go that way.
I thought that too as I'm watching it. I'm like, if I was him, I'd be like, well, I can't turn around. Just keep going. Just keep going.
Got to commit to whatever the hell I'm doing now.
Right?
For sure. But here's what I like. I like that Logan's past. See, one thing this movie does that fixes this whole airplane debacle in my mind is in Logan's past, or this last act is spectacular. Okay, it's to me, it might be for sure. It's the best third act of a comic book movie we've ever seen up till this moment when we're watching this movie when it first comes out, right? Because I wouldn't say it's as good as like some of the others that we've seen, but like it's up there. Like for me, I love that. There's always been kind of a complaint that Logan has taken over these X-Men movies. But, the thing is they needed to find a character to follow. And I think Singer knew what to do with Wolverine and what to do with Logan. So he doubled down on it. And that's why you see him be a staple in a lot of them. And I personally have no problems with it. I don't want the MCU to do the same thing because I would rather it focus more on Charles, Cyclops, and Jean, truthfully, I would like it to be a little more focused on Charles, or specifically Cyclops going forward too, like, or at least that core family more so, right? I would like the X-Men to feel a little more like Guardians of the Galaxy, not style wise, but when it comes down to
family unit,
the unit together, this idea that they're going to do anything for each other, right? But Wolverine's the perfect for us, that perfect conduit of. We're in his shoes through 90% of the Fox Universe X-Men, right? Wouldn't you say? And and it works to fit. And he's got some of the coolest mysterious background because he's 200 years old, because he's Weapon X. There's a lot of things you can do with him that they've proven that can be done. Even in his solo movies, despite the one that really failed, that first one, the other two, though, Logan's a masterpiece. And the second one is actually pretty good for what it is. It could be better, but it's not bad, right? What I love, though, and this third act does it well, is instead of letting Logan hijack it, his past and the X-Men's current situation all are part of the same problem. So in order to do this whole him remembering where he's from, how he got the medal, all about the Stryker stuff, is all relevant to what's going on with Stryker and where the X-Men are going already. And because of that, narratively, you can tell both these stories at the same time and not feel like you're taking from one or the other. I don't ever feel like, okay, we're diving into Logan stuff and we should be worried about what's going on here. It's all part of the same climax. And like, to me, that's brilliant because you could have easily felt like there's two movies here happening at the same time because what are we doing with this Wolverine stuff? We're worried about what Charles is doing. We're worried about this kid and we're worried about what Stryker's got going on. Well, guess what? It's all part of the same thing. And I know it sounds simple to say, but I think the balance, though, is what I want to point out is perfect. It's perfect in my mind. I just really wanted to point that out, that I'm very impressed when I watch this, that I don't feel like I can't wait to get back to the other thing that's happening because it's all happening so perfectly incongruent with each other that it feels very natural of the flow. And there's no like, oh, okay, wait, go back to Wolverine. What's going on there? What's going on there? It's like you are interested in every moment of what's going on with everybody, and it's all part of the same climax. And to me, that's just hands down fantastic filmmaking in storytelling.
I agree. I completely agree. I agree with everything that you said when it comes to the not feeling like Wolverine's side story there is taking away from it. I was actually interested in it, but not feeling like, oh, what rabbit hole are we going down? You know, it was a natural part of this story, and it just integrated so well what the X-Men are doing that it just felt very natural and made me genuinely curious to see an origin of Wolverine. I want to say, and I don't, please correct me if I'm wrong, I feel like it's because of people that felt similar to this is why we got the spin-offs of Wolverine that we did with at least the first one, the origins of him.
I agree.
Because then they were like, well, we're going to tell you then in the full-fledged movie. Whether or not you like it, we'll get to that retrospective in the future, guys. But
because there's enough to make a movie out of with
oh,
them, for sure.
yes. Oh, definitely. Yes.
Just whether they make it
That's
good
one
or
cool
not.
thing about Wolverine. Even though he wasn't too much of a centric character until these movies really boosted him up a lot more, he did, just like all the rest of them, they have a rich backstory. And he definitely has enough of a fan base from the comics that he had stories to tell all the time. So I'm glad that they did do a trilogy of his stuff because it's great that we get to see it. You know?
Yeah, I agree.
But yeah, no, that worked really well. I'm glad you mentioned that. That whole fight with Lady Deathstrike there, Yuriko, it's really cool. It is really cool. Um, uh, I you know I struggled a little bit with it only because I liked the comic version of Yuriko to a degree. I like what they did for the revamp, like appearance wise and everything here, of course. And I love the actress; she's really good at it. But I liked in the comics that she was Wolverine's love interest that then did this to herself for whatever reason it was, and now she became sort of a villain type thing. So we lost the emotional aspects of Yuriko in this movie, but I don't think it took away from the movie overall.
Well, and it only affects people that know the comics.
Yeah.
Or the cartoon a lot. And so in the world of this movie, it fits, you know? I love this scene, by the way, this fight scene with them.
Yeah.
You know, I'm going to talk about it actually more later, to be honest with you. So, before we get to like any of did the endings land or anything, I think we should talk about our best moment
Okay.
in this. Well, one thing I do want to clarify, two things real quick. I like that Scott is here and he gets brought out of this trance and they have a great moment. It's on the screen right now. It's once again, it shows that the chemistry they built on something here. There's a relationship there.
Mm-hmm.
And this is where I have the question about the mind altering thing.
Mm-hmm.
How, like, so he does this stuff. Like, is there a time limit on it? How does it
Yeah.
work? Because it seems like if Wolverine could have just hit that chick there in the head a couple times real hard, he could have knocked her out of it, right? Like she didn't have to die. I mean, I wouldn't change the fight. I think it's perfect, but it does make me kind of go. I mean, that blast just kind of snaps Scott out of it. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? It's like so. Like, what is the? They don't really give you this parameter of
So,
because it's
yeah.
not how like Loki's staff, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where you have to get knocked out of it or you're in it all the time, right?
Yep.
This is like he gives it to you. What's it like? Okay, I got 30 minutes and you're on my side. Is it, because and it's more than a truth telling serum. Because like at first I kind of felt like it was like he was making Magneto tell things and he couldn't and he had to, but he's literally got this from what you understand with this girl. She comes in and out. I mean, he literally doses her before the fight, and then at the end of the fight, she's coming out of it. And like before the fight, she's almost kind of like, "Whoa, where am I?
Mm-hmm.
What am I doing?" And then Scott does further on explains, I could see myself doing it, but I couldn't stop myself. He's like, but there's no explanation to like, if you just waited 10 minutes, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you'd have just danced around with her for a couple more minutes, they would have had her on their team because she probably would have been like, yeah, these assholes been making me do a whole bunch of stuff. You know what I mean? Like,
Mm-hmm.
and how often is he dosing her? Because if she's like her henchman, what's he on? He got her on like a 20-minute period. Like every 20 minutes, someone comes up and because like in the middle of the night, because if that woman wants to leave, she's leaving, right?
Oh,
There's no,
yes.
she's coming out of it, and then he forces her into it. She's like Wolverine. How do you stop such a thing?
Well, I think that's your answer there. So, the two things about this true serum. I'm glad. Let's just dive right into what this is. This stuff is derived from his son's DNA,
Correct.
from
Spinal fluid, right?
his son's spinal
Yeah.
fluid, which is part of his mutant abilities as hallucinations. We see that exemplified in whatever is left of Jason to Xavier,
Mhm.
because he knows that Xavier that won't affect Xavier, that stuff, because his brain is too powerful.
Mhm.
He is an Omega level mutant after all. Xavier is.
He's to kind of trick him into it, pretty much.
Yeah, so he needs to amplify that with the raw power of what Jason can do, and that's what they did. That's why he followed him around the wheelchair and all that stuff. Um, I think that, yeah, there's two things for the serum from my understanding of this. One is, yes, there is a time thing for it. I don't know how long it is. I think it's for the strength of who you are. That if you're able to come out of it quicker, does it affect you? Does it not affect you? Things like that. And then, two, I think that knocking Scott out enough where he was able to take control of his brain, that's what happened. I think that when that blast
Oh, I
happened,
assume that too.
that's
Yeah.
what happened. But I think
Yeah.
for Yuriko's case, she is like Wolverine. So that's why I said I think your answer right there, or what you just said there, is your answer. She doesn't know who she is outside of. Think about what happened with Wolverine when he didn't know who he was after a thing happened, after he got the adamantium. I think she was a weapon made by Stryker, and she doesn't know who she is outside of that, but he keeps her in line with that serum. So, because if she does question him, she easily can escape, just
Oh,
like Wolverine could.
she's
But
scary.
if she's on this cycle of a dose or however it is, or even when she comes out of it, he knows he has a couple minutes to put that stuff on her before she decides she wants to take ownership over herself.
Mhm.
And I think that's all we're seeing here.
Okay.
I think it's
I'm
kind of
with
a
you.
mixture of both.
No,
And
yeah, and it works for me.
Mhm.
Like it does work. It's just it is kind of convoluted,
Mhm.
and it makes it kind of go, it's kind of a good trope to use. By the way, this fight is, I don't know, man. It's one of my favorites in all of Marvel, all of comic book movie history. This fight between him and her is one of my absolute favorites.
Mm.
It's so gnarly. It's super graphic. It is just like it's brutal. It's animal. They're both crazy. This part right here, when she climbs up him to pull his claws out, like it is just like this is gnarly, man. Like they are going at it, and I love this fight. It's one of my favorites.
Mm.
It's such a It's The only other thing I want to touch on before we get to that standout moment thing,
Mm-hmm.
is I think using Xavier as a weapon is probably one of the most genius things this movie's
Yes.
done.
Yep.
Yeah, and we don't really need to go further into that because we've periodically talked about it, all our reasons why. But I really just want to make sure that it's said
Mm-hmm.
that choosing to do that, I think, was real brilliant.
Yeah.
Truthfully. But my best moment in Act 3, I'm gonna give it to Jean. Not necessarily her death, but the whole moment that it happens. Because I was watching it last night, and I was like watching the scene again, and I'm like, man, if you really think about it, like she went from I'm hearing voices, I don't know where they're from, I don't know what's going on, I'm nervous and blah blah blah, and I can barely use my powers and real skittish and scared and all that fun stuff, to like in this single moment, she's not only turning the jet on, but she's lifting the jet. She's holding back thousands and thousands of gallons of water, maybe millions.
Yeah.
She's stopping Nightcrawler from popping out there and grabbing her. She's stopping Xavier from probably trying to do the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Because, he's not just letting it happen. So she's got to be, I mean, I'm assuming that one, that's not really said, but I'm assuming that because you'd think he'd kind of be like, hey, what are you doing? Like, although he kind of, I think, also realizes this has to happen. But like, and he's also, or she's also, stopping Nightcrawler. I wrote it down. Sorry, guys. So yeah, so and she's also talking to Xavier to talk to them all at the same time. Like it's like it reminded me of yours and my idea in the movie that we wrote, where there's a moment in our climax where things are happening and it's right at the pinnacle of the climax, where if you picked it apart, you'd realize she's doing like 10 things at once, and including fighting inside her mind.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So it's like if this isn't a good prelude or idea of what the Phoenix could be, I don't know what other way to it. Because she went from scared and skittish to look at all these things she's doing at the same time.
So not only that, but let me point this out to you that dawned on me when I was listening to it this morning. And I'm like, wow, we wrote in our version of Dark Phoenix, which we will tell you guys someday. I promise. We're going to do a special just on that. That she tells Xavier in her mind while they're battling the Phoenix internally that I'm the only one who can stop this. And she says, this is my choice to make. And in this movie, how it ends, when Logan and Scott are saying to him, is there something else we could have done? Xavier says those exact words here. This was her choice and she made it. And we wrote that same thing, not even thinking about that.
Right.
Just because we're so in tune to how they write these characters that we were like, this will be perfect. This is how it has to end. This is there.
Which is awesome. That's even cooler. That's so cool to know that now, too. It's so...
Right?
Because we knows that we're on the right path with this, right?
Yeah.
And also, and it's something they do multiple times in these movies.
Yeah.
Where, when you get at the end of Apocalypse and they're having their conversation, Magneto and him, it's the same one that they had in the very beginning. Like,
yeah.
It's like you wonder if that happens naturally or this was a natural thing.
Yes.
We wrote that thinking that was this was what this character would say.
Yeah. Yep. And then turned out that is what he says.
What he says about her. Yeah. And it's like, it's amazing that.
Yep.
Yeah. It's so good. It's so
That's
good.
why when you mentioned and that very scene when she's out there and Xavier says, "Where's Jean?" And then they're all freaking out, and then that's when she starts like, lifting everything up, turning everything on, all that stuff. I don't think Xavier fought it too much because he knew in that moment telepathically with her, even though we didn't see it, but he kind of explains it to a degree. She is saying to him, I'm making this choice to save my family.
Yep.
And she does the same thing in our version of Dark Phoenix. So, anyways,
guys, trust me, when we do talk about that, we wrote a great movie treatment of what we think a good Phoenix movie would be based on the Fox Universe characters.
Yeah.
And it is dope. Like, it's like one of those I wish, I'm like, man, it would have been. And it's something I think people would like.
Yeah, and we're not bragging. We really
It's really
poured
good.
we poured so much time and
Yeah.
heart into this, and every character we picked, whether we introduced them or we had them carry on, we gave them their due.
We have
We
some
thought
good
about
moments
it.
in it. Well, yeah,
Like
there's some
there
good
are,
stuff.
you know what's so funny? I realized this the other day when I was looking at, just because we have it, we have the actual scripts that we've written and everything. There's one scene in it that actually mimics a little bit of what the Simon Kinberg Dark Phoenix movie did, and I'm like, isn't that funny that we thought of this, but we did it better?
Right.
So
Right. Because
you
there's ideas. It's just how you do them, right? Yeah.
exactly, yep. Anyways, so back to X2.
So that's my
Yeah.
best moment though in that, because it is like such an eye opener of what's happening
Mhm.
here.
I do love that. Honestly, I should have written that down as my best moment, but I did write down for my best moment, Magneto reversing Cerebro.
Yeah,
I
that
love
was close. That's so good.
I love the complexity of Magneto.
Every time.
And that's right on
Every
our screen
time.
right now.
It's such a strange thing to happen.
It's so funny. I love that he gets Mystique to mimic Stryker to do it. And he says, goodbye, old friend, or goodbye, Charles. And it's just, I just thought that is a great character moment for him because he saw an opportunity that fulfill his way of getting it done and he took it.
Mhm.
And you have to give him some credit for at least doing it.
And it
That's
fits
what
his
makes
character.
yes, and that's what makes him so grand
Yeah.
of a arch enemy for them, to be honest.
Mhm.
And also a frenemy, to be honest, because that'll help.
Well,
He'll
that's
help
just
him.
it. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's complex.
Yes.
It's the most complex, I think, even more so than what you called like Doctor Doom and Fantastic Four. I think
Mm-hmm.
he is. I would say it's even more complex than it is with Loki and
Mm-hmm.
Thor.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yep.
and that's pretty complex.
Yes.
But I would say it's even more complex between Xavier and Magneto.
Oh,
You know what I'm
so
saying?
good. So, did the ending land? Yes, it did.
Yeah, the
Um,
ending landed for me too, for sure. Yeah,
yeah, because that whole what Jean did, I think what Jean did. What do you think that's the ending, or is that the climax?
I say it's a climax.
Okay. All right. So the ending of so the ending basically of stopping Stryker from doing what he was doing, basically.
Yeah,
Is that
or just the very end of the movie,
yeah,
like kind
yeah.
of. Yeah,
That was really
I'd
cool.
say the ending is from when they show up in the White House to the end.
Yes. Oh, and that was
That
epic.
all works.
That
That
was
all works.
really
Yeah.
cool. Xavier froze everybody again, and then he has Rogue lay down the papers, and
Mm-hmm.
he tells them not to fear, and it's so cool. And then he says there's people that believe a war is happening. We don't want that, and
Yeah.
you have a moment right now of not setting that tone.
Well, and this is that comparison I have with Xavier from Xavier in Apocalypse to the Xavier in X2. When they mess with the timeline in Days of Future Past, that moment in Apocalypse at the end where they are militarizing themselves a little bit had to happen just like it did in X2, because this is Xavier realizing we can't just be on the sidelines and make decisions for ourselves and work independently. We have to be involved. We have to work together, because if we don't, this kind of stuff is going to happen.
Yep.
This is where you get your Hank McCoys coming in and start working in Congress as a mutant in Congress. This is when Xavier realizes, well, I need warriors and I need people that can be out there and speak, because we can't just stand by because people like Stryker are going to show up. Now, Days of Future Past happens, and this all gets kind of rewritten and twisted around. And at the end of Apocalypse, you get that same Xavier, because they're all like kind of secret, and everyone's thinking they're kind of like keeping away from everybody, right? Then Apocalypse happens, and he realizes, oh no, we need to be able to fight against things that come, whether it's people or other mutants.
Mm-hmm.
It's just funny how that mirrors that. The Xavier does have his arc in this, is going from that, always diplomat kind of good guy that we do have people here that'll help, and you are here to fight Magneto and make sure he doesn't do things, and you are here to fight, and there is some sort of military to him, to at the end realizing we got to be more involved than that,
Mm-hmm.
because this was too close.
Mm-hmm.
And it lands well because there's loss for the good guys this time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the bad guy dies, whatever, cool. It happens in a lot of these. But the idea that Jean is dead and gone, despite the Phoenix thing that happens at the very end, it's definitely to the characters, they don't know this. So them losing somebody, I think levels up this movie, and it makes the ending work even better.
Yep, I agree. Yes, I think that I know not every
It all
movie
came to
has to
talk.
end. Yeah, every movie doesn't have to end with a casualty, but I think when a character like Jean dies in a movie like this, and it was a choice that she made, and she did to save everyone from what was happening, that is, it does. It levels up the movie because it shows that the stakes were real for this.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that that's a lot of movies could be a little too cookie cutter when it comes to that. Or the good guys always have to win and not lose anything, and the bad guys always have to lose and not gain anything. And that this movie did not do that.
Right.
You did lose someone that everyone held near and dear to themselves.
That's right.
And you saw the emotional moments between Wolverine and Scott and how they dealt with it together, even though they're kind of frenemies to a degree. They're a little standoffish, but that's only because they both were in love with the same woman.
Yeah, it's really unique that it's Wolverine that he leans on at the end.
Yep.
Isn't that interesting?
Yep. Yes, and I like
I'm
you
not sure
said.
what to think about that. I just think it's
Mhm.
unique. It's
And I like you said about it earlier, is that this movie made a clear choice and it didn't leave this carrot dangling of who does Jean love, who would she choose, and all that stuff. She tells Logan, I would choose Scott.
mm-hmm.
And he reaffirms to Scott, she chose you.
Mm-hmm.
I was just here. And I love that closure.
Yep.
Because uh, love triangles can be a little saucy at times, but
They made a decision in
they
this
made a
movie.
decision.
Yeah.
That's one that's a little daring to do because it's easy to just let that be whatever you want it to be and interpret that. I love they didn't. I love they're like, nope, this is the path we want her to be on, and this is how we're gonna end it.
Mm-hmm.
So good.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, so yeah, that landed. That worked really well.
So the climax for you?
Was the climax earned?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hands down. That was amazing. And I love the comic book reference that Bryan Singer did when he did that, because in the comics, even though this isn't the same Jean of how she got the Phoenix power, like the Chris Claremont thing with the Phoenix power,
Yeah.
it did sort of start the same way with the Phoenix rising out of a lake. And I love that that's how he set this up. Whereas you're going to get a loose adaptation of Bryan Singer's version of this, of the Phoenix rising up out of Alkali Lake, but it's a Phoenix from inside her. And now you have to figure out what to do with that. So I love the setup. I thought that was perfect. I loved at the very end, that's the last thing you see is going across the water, and there's a phoenix symbol that okay, more is to come, and this is what they're going to do. And that could have made for an excellent third emotionally driven movie. We'll get there next time you watch our retrospective specials, guys. But
this whole climax of all that,
yeah.
I like that this one reminds me a lot of Days of Future Past,
Mm.
where it's like it's not so much this big giant epic battle that has to happen.
Yep.
There's just a lot of moral things that got to go down quick.
Yeah.
Choices being done, like this whole tricking, stopping Xavier from doing what he's doing. It's not about brute strength there, and same with what she has to do. And then, I love punch endings, guys. So when Xavier's sitting there in a chair in the classroom, he looks into the distance, and you're like, that he's like, oh, what's he thinking about, and then you see the lake and you see the Phoenix, and then it goes right to black and the music goes. I'm like, yeah, I love endings that just bam, get you right there. Endings that snap quick like that are my favorite type of endings. I don't like fade out endings, guys. I want endings where it's like, this is cool and pow. That's one of my favorite endings of all time, just for the hell of it, I'm going to say it now, is The Dark Knight. When he's giving that speech and they're talking, and he goes, well, they're going to chase Batman? And he goes, yeah, he's going to be whatever Gotham needs him to be.
Yep.
He'll be this, he'll be that. He'll be their Dark Knight. And the cape folds over, and it goes right into the music. I'm like, yeah.
Yep.
Dude, what a great ending, right? Like, it's such a good, I love endings that make you want to cheer.
Mm-hmm.
That's like, this ending made me want to cheer.
Yep.
Yeah, like, good ending, and the music hits hard. Yeah, I love it so much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So I guess, is there any big issues for you in this ending? In this third act?
No, I just had like the questions of the serum, and but this nothing that's picking major nits.
Mm-hmm.
So no, this third act, like I said, I'm gonna score this third act a 10 out of 10. I think this third act is one of the best third acts I've seen in any superhero movie to date. I'd say top 6 for sure. I'm only saying 6 because it might be 6. I don't know. Maybe okay. I'll you know what? I'll be bold. This third act might be top 5 of best third acts I've seen in a superhero movie ever. Might be. That might change. Definitely top 10, maybe top 5.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm gonna go bold. I love it. It's good. It's some of the best we've ever seen.
Well, I honestly, I was gonna give this a 9 out of 10, but that whole stuff with Gene, especially after that epiphany that we just had
Oh yeah, how
about
do you
it,
not realize?
I'm sorry, this is a 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
There's I mean, my 9 out of 10 was still pretty good, but what she did, what they wrote her to do, how it was executed so brilliantly. And it's not just that, everything else in the thing with Mystique having her moment, with Logan having his moment, all of them, it was so good. It was really good, actually. I feel like everyone in this movie had their moment in Act 3.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep. Storm definitely did when it came to getting Xavier out of there and everything. So
That's like an atomic bug. I hope you can see this on the screen, but it is big and scary and weird. See you, bud. He just wanted to say hi.
Yep.
This thing scared me. I thought I was in one of my creature features for a second. I'm like, oh great, this is gonna turn weird.
Oh my gosh.
Anyway,
Yeah, 10 out of 10 for
yes,
Act 3.
10 out of 10.
Okay, guys, we're going to well, by the way, post-credit scene, there is no post-credit scene. This is so early on that post-credit scenes weren't really thought of until X-Men 3 is when you get a post-credit scene, from my
And
understanding.
this is where I have something to say.
Okay.
You know what could have been an easy post-credit scene for this movie? The whole start from Xavier sitting in the school, looking out the window to seeing the Phoenix underneath the water. That could have been a post-credit scene, and it wasn't. Thank you. We don't always need post-credit scenes. Put it in the movie if you're confident, and he was confident, and he put it in the movie. I'm just saying, guys, I'm not a fan of post-credit scenes. It's not my. If I was making a movie, I wouldn't want to do them. Although I understand what they're used for. They sometimes are great, and I get them, but sometimes they bug me a lot. And this movie didn't need it. Put it in the movie, and they did. They put the post-credit scene in the movie, and it was a punch ending. See, some of those post-credit, if you think about some of the MCU post-credit scenes, you could do that in those movies and have that punch ending. Imagine Iron Man, but it's not a post-credit scene, and it's the last scene in the movie. He says, "I am Iron Man," and the screen goes dark, and then it fades into him standing there, and then there's Nick Fury, and then goes black after he says we're doing an Avengers thing. I tell you right now, you're like, nah, I don't know. I like the ends on I am Iron Man. But I got to tell you, you do that with that punch ending, with that music hits in as soon as you hear the Avengers initiative, you'd be like, that's awesome. Yeah, you don't need the post-credit stuff. It could be put in. If it's good, it can be put in. With that said, I appreciate what they've done with Marvel. Some of them are real fun, and I've had a good time watching them. But this is a great example of you don't need to do them, man. This movie was like, just give it all, just wash it right over us. So okay, thank you for no post-credit scene.
All right, so we're getting into some of our favorite moments of this podcast that we do in this retrospective review, guys. Our character deep dives.
Yeah, this is where it's going to get interesting, I think, between us.
Oh boy. All right, so best performance for you.
So this is tough because there's a lot of good stuff in this, right?
And I feel like I would say right off the bat, it was that this is hard to pick one person because they really do well from the first film to the second one of elevating some of those characters really well, at least giving them a moment or two. So
better than we thought, right?
Yes.
So best performance, I'm going to have to give it only because there's more of this person in it, and their arc is better, I think, served, and it's some of the best of what we got out of this person as this character. And I'm going to give it to Hugh Jackman as Wolverine.
Okay.
This solidifies there is no one else that's going to play this role the way he can play it. First movie showing that too, but not like this movie. This one, when you start adding up the scenes of him in it with everybody else as well, he is spectacular in this movie. Spectacular in this movie. He shows you those rage moments, all those shots they had to shoot of him getting the injections and you coming up out of the water and he's like covered in blood. Like that's all stuff they shot for this movie. Like he does a wider range of things for this character in this movie and is still able in really key scenes to kind of step back and let the other people shine and then step back in and be Wolverine like he's supposed to be. And that's one of the best Wolverine fights I've ever seen is that he does with Lady Deathstrike,
Mm.
in my opinion. I just think physically he does it all. Emotionally, he's there. He's there for the rejection of Jean. He's there for her death. He's there for the kids. He took on so many different roles in this to be the conduit that we're with. This right here makes you go, oh, if we do another X-Men movie and they cast someone else, I'd be pissed. You could have almost got away with it from X1. Almost, because it's great and you want to see more. But this is what gave him that seal of approval. There's no turning back now. He's doing it till he's 90.
Yeah.
So I got to give it to him. And trust me, it wasn't easy because there's a lot of great performances in this, but purely for the quantity of the quality. So it's the quality's 100%, and then there's more of him than everyone else.
Mm.
So I have to give it to him for being that consistent through the whole film.
That's very good. Very good. I had to divide mine up into two, I would say, for best characters. I put Famke Janssen and Brian Cox.
Yeah.
So
great choices.
I gotta say, so from what I said from the first retrospective of X-Men 1, where I thought Famke was kind of
She's my second
undercooked.
choice, just so you know.
Okay, there you go. Yeah. I thought she was a little undercooked in the first one, but you did convince me in talking about it that she was kind of that way on purpose, and this movie proves it with what was going on with her. And I think that was really well handled. I think she did an excellent job of portraying that. She is a scene stealer, and I think that I feel like that was perfectly cast to put this actress as this character. And it is. I love Sophie Turner as Jean Grey, don't get me wrong, but there is something about this original iteration of Jean Grey that is so good and convincing, and you can tell that she gives the emotional depth that's needed for Jean Grey as a character. I had to hand it down to her and be like, you did phenomenal in this whole movie.
It's a great choice.
And then Brian Cox. Talk about a villain. One, Brian Cox is a great actor in of himself. He's like what I would say is like a legendary actor type thing. Almost everything that he does, whether the movie is good or not, he is good in it. It's like his portrayal of whatever character he is. And
he's in Braveheart for literally 60 seconds. And he should have got an Oscar for it.
Oh my!
Like I'm telling you guys, Brian Cox is look at Succession.
I was just gonna say Succession is such that he makes that show. It's so good. Yeah. But anyways,
that's like Stryker on vacation.
Yeah. But him as Stryker. And how he's able to portray himself this way, how he could talk to the president in one way, but then he talks to Wolverine in another, and then he is good at being a villain.
Yeah,
he is so good. So both of them, hands down. I love Famke to death. She did a fantastic job with this. Fantastic job with this. So. Yeah. That's
she was my second choice, so we're close.
There you go. All right. So most surprising performance.
I'm gonna give it to Brian Cox, but he tied with Alan Cumming, and I say that I had to pick the two because it surprised me that he did as well as he did with this role. And we don't have to repeat everything we just said, so I'm gonna go around to Alan. But Alan is Nightcrawler. Wow.
Yes.
Like what the hell, right? Like I couldn't imagine anyone else playing him. You know, I'll even say that knowing that we get a different Nightcrawler later, but he's younger. And to me, it's like, I can see him turning into him later.
Yep.
You know, this guy in one role, in one movie, kind of took the role and just owned it, you know?
Oh, yes.
And the fact that he's coming back for Doomsday, That's what makes me go, they all better be then, because
Oh my gosh.
they could have got away with Doomsday not bringing him, and we would
Mm-hmm.
have never been surprised
Yep.
because he just left after this one anyways.
Mm-hmm.
But the fact that he is kind of makes me go, "Okay, what's gonna go? I want to see this." Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see what's going on here.
So I'm gonna agree with you there that Alan Cumming is part of my surprise performance, but I'm also gonna add in Halle Berry for this.
Yeah, hey,
And
good choice.
the reason, yes, she had a lot more than she did in the first one. She definitely got her due, and she definitely showed through this film as Storm, she can have some emotional depth to her.
Yep.
And I love that I picked those two in particular because they paired them up together and they worked so well, their chemistry back and forth. But also, just like what you said of Alan Cumming, I have seen there's a TV show called The Good Wife, and he's in it a lot. He
Yep.
plays a campaign manager. And I watch him in that, and I don't think Nightcrawler. But then when I remember, oh, he played Nightcrawler. And
Yep.
then I watch this, I'm like, how did you do that?
Mhm.
He is so good and convincing that it's
Yeah.
like you're sleeping on Alan Cumming, guys. He's a great actor.
Mhm.
Like I would never have thought of it. That it's so good. And then he goes through all the prosthetics and everything. And what I'm most excited for Doomsday, and I hope they give this nod properly because they didn't really touch it too much, except I believe there's a deleted scene where it's a little bit touched upon in this movie, of Mystique and him being mother and son.
Mm.
There's a couple of times in this movie where they're standing next to each other and he's like, I hear you can mimic even their voice. And she says, even their voice, just like it. And it's cool, but it never touched on their actual relationship. I hope that just for a due for them in Doomsday, since Rebecca Romaine and Alan Cumming are both going to be there, I want them to say, you're my son, or that's my mother. That would have, if that happens,
Some
just
sort of
one little
confirmation.
line
Yeah.
of like Mystique sultrily, sexily walking by someone and be like, who's that? And he's like, that's my mother. I'll be like, yes, that's all I want. That's all I want. Anyways, so those two people are my surprise. So weakest performance, and this was very hard.
So it's not hard for me.
'Kay.
I have two, but one of them is going to go under missed opportunities,
Okay.
and you'll see what I mean. The weakest performance is a performer in this, and it's only because I don't think he gets. I don't think. How do I say that? I hate being a critic, guys, but hey, I'm just gonna say it. I don't relate to this actor well, and for some reason I have trouble believing him, and I'm gonna give the weakest performance to Bobby. You know, I out of all the actors in this, I think he struggles the most. But I also think this is early in his career and he's young. And once again, he was given a scene that came off really cookie cutter cliche. So he's gonna also come off as that. And then some of the other stuff he has, I'm glad they don't linger on too long because he kind of gets a little cringy. But he has something about him that makes me feel like he's a stage actor or he's just an actor that's filling in and doing it. He does a great job. And I don't feel this way about him in Days of Future Past,
Mm.
but he's not really in that much either, you know? And I don't think he's a bad actor. And I don't, and I, if I hey, if you're going to bring Iceman and Doomsday, it should be him. You know, I'm not saying he's a bad actor. I'm just saying with this cast, you kind of got the short end of the stick. Sorry, guy.
Mm.
That's you know, for me that was the least. And but you know what? I'm going to blame him, and I'm also blaming the writing of the scene that he could have shined in if they had a better written scene. Then I think we would have had a better look of what this guy had capable of doing. But what we got was a mediocre role from a mediocre scene that felt cliche, and he did most of the time in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
And guys, when I say that, it's still a great movie. So I'm not, you know.
Yeah.
I wouldn't cast no one else.
Mm-hmm.
I would just work with him to get it to where we want it to be,
Mm-hmm.
which I think he could do.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't think they did in this.
Mm. Okay. I hear you there. I had a hard time with this category because I originally, when I was starting to write my draft of the script, wrote Cyclops just because I feel like he gets sidelined a lot, but not only in our conversation now, but as after doing the rewatch a couple times, he is not the weakest. I think that the I can't even put him as missed opportunity in this film, but I agree with you that what you said earlier is that I think they wrote him on purpose here, knowing what the next film was going to be,
Yes,
and that was when he was going to get his due. And unfortunately, we never got that.
that's right. That's right.
Yep, I completely agree with you there because he has the emotion in this movie, and he has the acting chops. He's got everything going
And the
on for
chemistry
this.
gets solidified for
It
sure.
it does, which
Yeah.
would have made the next film so much more emotional.
Yeah, yeah.
And
And
mhm,
when if he does go militant in the next one, it'd be
mhm,
like,
yeah.
you know,
So I'm just gonna leave that part blank for this. I agree with you on
I'm
the
with you.
Iceman thing, but he wasn't so consequential to me in this film. I
Yeah.
feel like in the next film he has a bigger role, and so I'll be a little more critical on okay, what are they giving him to do? You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
I agree, and I'll definitely have a lot to say about it in the next one.
Yeah.
But which I think he does actually a lot better in the next one
Mm,
for that reason.
mm,
But I try to hold myself to the fire with these, and like if I had to pick one, it had to be him, I guess. But you're
yeah.
right. I try not to be too. I always don't like. I don't like telling actors are bad actors, but there are some I will.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I'm afraid to say that I don't think he's that good,
Mm-hmm.
but I also don't think you know.
Yeah, I hear you. So, casting wins or misses. I just put down it's a great cast. Everyone really is
Yep,
casted well.
the whole thing's a win.
Yep, and the addition of Alan Cumming and Brian Cox,
Hmm.
really good.
Yep. I put the same two. They both stick out like
Yep.
for wins.
Yeah, totally. And then missed opportunities you already touched upon for Iceman, and I can see that for Iceman to
Oh,
be
and well,
honest.
missed opportunity is Rogue.
Oh, yep.
Yeah, because
Okay.
she almost was my worst, but I put it as missed opportunity. Let's be honest, guys. I I think you and I need to be honest about it too. She doesn't really do much different in this movie than she did in the first movie.
That's true. Actually, yeah.
She's just scared, young, set aside. She gets to fly the jet for a couple seconds, which is not my favorite moment.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, that's about it.
Mm-hmm.
Rogue don't get much. You
Yeah.
know, it's not Anna's fault.
No.
You know, and I this is a critique about the director that I'm going to talk about in the next section. If
Mm,
there's one thing I have a problem with Bryan Singer, I'll tell you what it is when we get there. But which is next. But yeah, I feel like a missed opportunity is some sort of development with her other than still being that scared kid.
mm-hmm.
Because 90% of the time in this, she's running, hiding, scared, and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the first movie.
Mm,
The best
yeah.
Rogue we get is Days of Future Past,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
and that's technically not even the final cut. That's just for us nerds.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I
Mm.
feel bad saying it, but I
No, I
realized
see you.
when I
I see
watched
it.
this, I'm like, oh my god, where's Rogue? Like you couldn't think of a situation where
She
she
would
could
have
have
been
done
her
used her
power.
powers for
Yeah.
anything, like other than there's none of that's in this movie.
Except for like helping die down the fire the pyro started at Bobby's house. But that's the only time. There's nothing that w- that is a very good point
It's
that
even lacking between her and Wolverine.
mhm.
They get a hug in the beginning. That's it.
It is I kind of do wish she was more a part of the team when it came to that final act and she wasn't just shelved in the X jet. You know,
Yeah,
like, couldn't she have been useful in some of those scenes, or could they have written it to a way where she helped get the kids or, something like that would have given her a little more purpose than just flying, making the jet come closer to them?
yeah. I mean something, right?
Mhm.
I don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah, I know. I don't know. I
Yeah.
don't know. So, all right. So, I guess then moving on from that, the direction and production.
So I'll jump right through these real quick. I'll start from the bottom up. The music's great. It's better this time. They're really getting that theme song down. And I'm enjoying the fact that they did it, especially in the beginning and having that punch at the end with it. I love the CGI in this movie, except for the plane scene. I think that's the only time it really kind of falls short. But there's a lot there they really want to do visually. But what they did awesome though is all the practical effects on the dam. Like when a
Mm.
dam is breaking, that could have easily been a ton of CGI, but it was they really made a model and made it fall apart, and it's real water, just like they did in Lord of the Rings and all that stuff.
Mm.
I love that. You can tell when I'm watching it. I'm like, oh look, you can tell this is a model, but it's like good because it feels real. I like that damn come off real well at the end.
Mm.
Action, like I told you, that's the best Wolverine fight scene I've ever seen. I love it. I love that it's unhinged. I love that it's wild. I mean, don't get me wrong. There's other great Wolverine fight scenes, but man, there's something about that one it is like literally ferocious. And I just enjoy that it's that
The one in
ferocious.
the mansion?
Yeah, or no, the one in with
Yuriko?
yeah, I love it. I can't. I don't know. I used to not, but these last few times, I'm like, boy, it's a great scene. Like, it is freaking wild. Like, the use of the camera, which brings me to cinematography. When she runs and jumps on him and stabs him in the chest, and he's like, ah, and the camera comes back and then winds right back down to them. It makes you feel like, oh, man, this looks like it hurts. Like, every bit of it hurts. If they had the balls enough to do a little bit more gore, there'd have been blood flying everywhere. You know what I mean? Like, if it was a Deadpool Wolverine fight, it would have been like that. And it just made me realize that it looked very painful. And it just it worked well for me there. And that's so to me, there's not a ton of fights in this movie. So when I think of that, that's kind of the one that sticks out anyways, right? Um, so there's the cinematography too. So the director, this here is where I wish Bryan Singer he needs a touch of whatever drugs or chemical or cosmic thing that was put into the Russo brothers. I think Singer knows these characters, knows what he wants to do with them, has great ideas, has done some big swings and drastically changed a few that have kind of worked for the best. And we just don't know if it would work for the best in some because we haven't gotten enough of them. But I do think that he's not as good as like what you call the Russos at managing this many characters, which is why I think the Iceman scene, as well as was meant, fell short, and is why I think we almost forget that Rogue's in this movie. You know what I mean? So I think some of these characters needed the Russo touch. And when I say that, they weren't around, like they weren't doing this stuff. So it's no offense. Not saying it's a failure of Brian's, but it is definitely there is like a little bit of ingredient that other directors have had that I wish Brian had a little more of. Because Brian does good with like these ensemble casts, but this one I feel like was too many for him. And
Okay.
maybe there was a struggle there.
What I feel like that's more of a hot take for this film, but
Yeah?
would you say that from what you remember, does he get better when it comes to Days of Future Past at handling ensembles then?
No.
It's the same.
Yep. I would
Mm.
say because Days of Future Past has got a lot of characters, but a lot of those characters are only in a couple moments of the movie.
Hmm.
Most of them die in the first act, and then most of them die in the last act just to come back to life. If you think about the ones that you spend the most time with, you're not with all those people. So I think that's the issue. If Days of Future Past has a lot of characters in it, but you get a bunch in the beginning, and then they're gone for a long time. And then you get segments of them. They're not part of the same narrative story as the ones that you stay with most of the time. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
And then even those ones, do we get better Storm stuff in that? No, it's the same. What do we get? How much do we learn about Bishop? Nothing. We just know he's there, and he's cool and it works, but it's just not, we don't learn anything new about Iceman. It's like, if you really, and I'm not saying it for a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. It doesn't hurt
Mm-hmm.
that movie, but it's like, compare that now to Infinity War, or better yet, Endgame, or even the best one when it comes down to the ensembles. Compare it to Civil War, where you introduce two brand new people in the middle of all these people you got. There's a moment, everybody gets a moment to shine. There is a key ingredient that I just don't think, I don't know if it could be a mix of they didn't know how, or he just isn't good at it. I do think there's one too many characters for him, and that's why we see ones like Rogue, who should have got more time because we've already seen her, didn't.
Mm.
But yeah, yeah, Days of Future Past, yeah. Even Apocalypse has a couple that's like, oh, well, it's okay because it doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't change the story. And in this, it's the same. whether Rogue's involved or not doesn't make this movie good or bad. It's the same movie, right? It's still great. I would just say that if you had the Russos doing this movie, Rogue would have had a different spot. There would have been a moment where she was used in a certain way.
So that would have been.
Does that make sense?
I get it.
And I'm not saying that he's the wrong person for the job. 100%, I'm glad he did it. I'm just saying, I guess it would be more of a hot take, but it is my critique of the director himself. Because even his other movies, it's usually 5 to 6 people that he really focuses on. But even then, you take like the first one he really got well known for, which is the Usual Suspects. I mean, it's 5 guys, and 2 of them get the most attention. The other 3 got like 4 lines each in the whole movie. You get who they are though, and it makes the movie fine. But it is like, yeah, I mean, I just don't know if Brian is all that great at the ensemble as he is at when he does the ones that he focuses on, they shine. And he doesn't drop the ball on the others, but I don't know if he knows how to mix them in well either.
Interesting. So, because he's Bryan Singer, for me personally, he's at almost a Russo brother level for me. But I do see the points that you're making, and it does make sense that if there's any critique to give him, then is when you're doing an ensemble film like the X-Men, pay attention to every character and make sure the characters you put in there get their due for being in there, not just they're there.
I think he tried, and I think that's why the Bobby scene failed. Because where the Russos don't fail at that, that, and they needed to not be afraid to make this movie 20 minutes longer. But that's also a product of its time. They were people think they wouldn't have sat through it, and it might be true back then. Maybe people wouldn't have sat through a 2-hour and 40-minute X-Men movie. But when you look at like Endgame, I mean, that first 2 minutes is just Hawkeye playing around with his kids. I mean, that's a hell of a creative choice to do. But when you know that's the only real scene you need to do, there's a good, if you do enough with that one scene, it'll carry the whole movie. And when you look at the characters, if there's one in here that should have got that little of attention, it's Rogue.
Yeah.
And this whole time we didn't talk about her till the end because we almost forgot she was in it. Because she had nothing to do.
That's true, actually. That's sad in that retrospective view of that.
I mean, it doesn't make this a bad movie. It just shows where we've come with
ensembles,
superhero movies and ensembles. So to not be negative to Brian, I'd say he's definitely one of those in the earlier years that was giving it a try and give it a good enough swing to show it can be done. I do wish though he had that extra little recipe because a couple good Rogue scenes, this movie may have been a 10. You know what I mean?
Okay, I hear you. All right, guys. So, did you have an actual hot take though for this?
Yeah, the actual hot take, believe it or not. If you were to include this movie today in all superhero movies ever made, right now, it makes a top 10 list.
Yep, I don't think that's very controversial of a statement at all. And it sounds like from the general fandom that this is the most highly regarded of X-Men films besides Days of Future Past.
I've heard some say it's a little overrated. I don't think so.
I don't think it's overrated at all. No.
You remember back when you and I did our own independent for fun, the best X-Men movies just for fun before we started this podcast, which we're going to do, later. And you remember this was my number one for a long time until, we got talking apocalypse stuff. And then it just sort of rolled into like, oh man, yeah, when you really do this and that. And then, but then those Days of Future Past, you kind of like, is it better than that? I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, so, but I told you it's going to be tough because X2 has always been like, that was awesome. Like
that was the biggest thing.
It was the big one for a long time.
Yeah. That's why Fox, I know you're not there anymore, but shame on you for not waiting a little while longer to let Bryan Singer do X3. Because if this was so good, then you wanted to keep the same team afloat to do the next one. Man, you should have halted production for 2 months while he was able to get his stuff together for it,
Yeah.
That's all. Like, he could have done it, but whatever.
Yeah.
I digress. That's the past. My hot take for this film sets the bar for future comic films and the MCU, and they all struggle to reach this.
I can agree with that. Yep.
Like that, this is predating the MCU, but even the MCU has a hard time reaching this. Even in this golden era that we're at right now, we have good films. I'm not saying we don't have good films, but if this movie was thrown into that mix, this would be part of them, and this will be one of those top tier MCU films.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. It's good.
So, like, I know not everything can be as great as Civil War, but if you can make them as great as X2, you got a pretty good thing going.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, come on.
yeah. All right, guys. Next is quick fire questions. Answer fast. Don't overthink. The best scene of the movie.
Excuse me. Best scene in the movie, I'm going to give it to the mansion being infiltrated.
That is a great scene. That is a great scene. I gave mine to Jean sacrificing herself.
Okay.
I think that was really well done and how they executed it.
Okay.
So, all right. Least best scene of the movie.
Iceman and his family. Yep. It just was cliche, cut short, all those things we talked about before.
I'm going to agree to that. Yeah.
Yep.
All right. Best villain moment.
So my best villain moment is I love the conversation he has with Xavier when he tells him why he's doing what he's doing. Because the mask gets pulled down. He's not just the one dancing for the president. He's not the one that's kind of curious about Wolverine and giving him shit. And he's not the one that's like just being that maniacal and stuff. He gets into this. My wife put a drill to her head because of what my son was doing to us. You know, like there's a thing that happens there where you're just like, oh my. And even Xavier's like, yeah, I mean, he's not agreeing with him at all, but he sees it in him, this hatred that he has. Xavier, there's not a lot he can say, you know, and that's, to me, that's his best moment because it's the unfurling of who this man really is.
Yeah, that's a really good pick there. That's a really good scene. I put for my best villain moment is when Wolverine and Stryker are talking on when after Wolverine ties him up on the helicopter because he reveals to Logan that he volunteered for the experiment. And I think that's something that he does this whole time with Wolverine is he's always like dangling a carrot in front of him of who you really are. I know who you really are type thing. And it almost gets to the point where it's irritating, but not an irritating and I don't like it type of way, but more for Logan's character of like, I'm trying to learn who I am, and you're saying you're going to give me answers, but I don't think I trust you, so I'm going to stick with my people type thing.
Well, it also shows that he makes a choice that maybe it doesn't matter who I was because this is who I am now.
Yeah,
you know?
because as he says to him, people don't change. He just doesn't know who he was before.
Yeah.
So, but
he's just doing that to stab him.
To
turn the knife more, you know. And
yeah, exactly. So most punchable face.
Moment. Most punchable face. Okay, so it was tough because everyone that needed a good punch had their due, really, except one, and it's in the museum scene. So the kid with the lighter. Okay, the whole idea, do you have a smoke?
Yep.
It's not the one that he sets on fire, but it's the one that's looking at Rogue and gives him and kind of gives Rogue those eyes like, hey, babe. The kid never gets his due, and that kid needs a big old square punch right to the nose.
Yep.
They should have broke his nose. Like, that kid is just, it's like, okay, what the heck is going on here? Like, that's my most punchable face. Can't stand it.
You know, I do agree with that. I originally wrote down that guard, but he does get
it. He dies.
He gets it. He does get it. But man, I love the line that Eric says to him, never fall for a beautiful woman, especially one interested in you.
Yeah.
Be like, he's already dead. Keep twisting it.
Just how he says it to him, too. Like, wow, guy.
Yeah, poor guy. But yeah, I get it. All right, one prop you take home. This one was so easy for me when I saw it.
Yeah, it was me, and I got to be honest with you, I was filling this out earlier. I did see your answer already. We have the same one.
Yeah, that phone,
It's cool.
the X phone. Before the iPhone, there was the X phone guys, and that's pretty
Because
dope.
it's tough. These are that, and I did say Pyro's lighter would be neat because it's got that thing on it.
Yeah,
So
the shark
that
thing.
was
Yep.
my second was Pyro's lighter because it has a shark
Yep.
thing on it.
I can see that.
Try to
But
get specific, with things, and that one probably.
the X phone.
Yeah, you take the X phone, I'll take Pyro's lighter.
All right. So the most underrated moment.
I think the most underrated moment is the fight with Lady Deathstrike. I think that has gone down as it was okay, and some people get disappointed about how they treated her character because of it. But I don't think it's talked about enough as the most feral fight that Wolverine's had in a long. When we look at some of the fights he's had throughout all his character stuff, I mean, maybe Deadpool Wolverine gets close to it because of the nature of it. But this fight is it's brutal, man, and it's quick, and it feels it's like a fever dream, unhinged kind of fight going on.
Now,
And I like that when he stabs her, she kind of comes out of it, and it's a bittersweet kind of like a. But there's what do you do? Like there's no stopping this thing. Like they were too unstoppable for. They'd have fought there for centuries. They just kept fighting until they were in pieces, and then keep coming back together to fight. You know what I mean? Like so, like that fight had to go that certain way, and I just really liked that. I just picked that for underrated because like the rest of this movie's great. Like.
So, are you talking about when it comes to like the best fight scene of Wolverine type thing? Is it just one-on-one or just Wolverine with anything? Because I'll personally be honest, if it's a one-on-one,
I think it's just in general. Yeah.
If it's in general, this is probably my third favorite fight scene of Wolverine. I like that you like it. It's great, and I'm not saying it's horrible, but it's like okay.
There's great ones. I get it.
Mm-hmm.
This one, for some reason, it comes up to the top for me.
See, I would put in this film in particular, the scene of the X-Mansion thing over this one, over that Yuriko one. And there's one that's not even in this film that I think is the top tier of Wolverine fight scenes. And we'll get to that one.
Ooh. Yeah, I get it. I get if it was one-on-one, this one takes it for sure.
Yeah, because I can't think of any, at this moment at least, any one-on-one that would top that. But he doesn't get too many one-on-ones from my understanding. But anyways, I'm not going to take away from you, though.
I think that's why I put the X-Mansion being invaded scene in the best scene for those reasons, too, though. Because it's kind of like some of the best Wolverine stuff we ever saw.
It is. Up until this point, it is the best we've seen, I feel like.
It still might be, really, for a while. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and so that's why it's kind of like, But that scene, to me, is not underrated.
No.
Everybody loves that scene. You know what I mean? Across the board, everyone's like, yeah, it's cool shit. So, like, to me, I feel like this one, though, isn't talked about enough as being one of the better ones. But it is definitely a bias of mine. I just like it a lot. You know what I mean?
That's good.
And I can see why people don't, but I do. I don't know. And I used to not. That's the funny part. Is like it took these other watches for me to really change my mind on it.
Okay. So the underrated moment for me, I'm gonna say, is Magneto and Pyro when they're talking in the X-Jet.
Yeah.
So it speaks to how enticing and the dark and selfish side of ideology is, but also speaks to the broader war and conflict that plagues mutants as a race.
Yep.
And if every mutant had an aspiration and integrity of Xavier, then peace would probably be found much more longer lasting and sustaining naturally. But because you get people like Magneto who entice more people, more mutants to be a little more radicalized like he is and follow his exact way of doing it, it's why we get these conflicts that last longer than they probably should be. I think that also speaks to the humanity aspect that it does touch upon a lot of real world stuff too. You can see an injustice happening, but because you might not be on the more peaceful, permanent resolution side of it, you want to see it end, but the way you want to see it end versus the way it should end is what makes that conflict be there for longer than it should be. And we're still today dealing with some of those same things. And I love that scene because it's very meta in that aspect, but also talks about, for them in particular, they want mutant. That's the same thing with Xavier and Magneto. They want mutant acceptance. Magneto wants it to an extreme where he feels they're above, they're the next stage in evolution, all that stuff. And Xavier agrees with him that mutants are probably the next stage of human evolution, but that doesn't mean we have to wipe out the previous stage. Whereas Magneto takes it a step further. If they're not going to accept us, they don't deserve to be here then anymore because they are the bugs. Like what he says to Pyro is, "You are a god among insects." And that's enticing.
Yeah.
It's very enticing for someone like Pyro who feels a little subsided and he's not as taken seriously. He's being like kind of like a joke of the group. It gets enticing to be like, you know what? This guy gets me.
And he's a master at taking advantage of that too.
Exactly.
Yeah. So
Yep. Yep. It also speaks to why Mystique is with him that long. Once you see the past trilogy type thing with the McAvoy and Jennifer Lawrence and something fell. That's how she's on his side. It's enticing, you know? So, anyways. Yeah, so that's my underrated moment.
Yeah.
My overrated moment, I did have a hard time with it, to be honest, because there's not many overrated moments, I would say. I threw on there the Yuriko fight with Wolverine. Only because I'm like, okay, she gets her due, but also part of me knows what she is in the comics, and it's okay. It doesn't make or break this movie with what they did with her in it. It's just that I feel like they could have put a different character in there other than Yuriko, and I would have been a little bit happier for that. Yeah. Because it's nice to see both of them in the same room together, but they're not the love interest they were in the comics.
Yeah.
Anyways.
I'm okay with it.
Not the rain on your parade, I promise.
No, it's fine.
But anyway.
My overrated moment is the whole jet missile scene.
Okay.
Well, for all the reasons I talked about earlier.
Yes, that's true.
It just makes no freaking sense. It's fun to watch, but it makes no sense at all. But they're all capable of surviving that crash somehow, some way. It didn't need to be that dramatic. It's drawn way too far. Like it made no sense. Anyway.
All right. Funniest moment.
Funniest moment.
I'll be honest, there's not many jokes in this movie.
No, but I did chuckle out loud when he did tell her, we like what you do with your hair. So I'm going to give it to that. But this movie definitely is very, very much more toned down on the jokes.
Yeah.
Some of the jokes are either a little cringy, a little corny, but there's so very few of them that the few that are there, they're not really. This is a darker look of things, for sure. Yeah.
The only one that I could think of is when they're with Bobby's parents and they say, "Will you Professor of again?" And Logan says, "Art."
Yeah, that's funny.
And I'm like, oh my God, that's funny.
And I chuckle at how Magneto says things.
Yeah.
In general. So to me, it's like, okay, the looks he gives sometimes, I'm just like,
should have killed me when you had the chance.
Yeah.
He's very theatrical.
Is it funny? Not really, but it is, and it's not. You know, it's like it works so well. Like,
yeah. Oh, geez. All right, guys. So most emotional moment.
Yeah, we have the same. This when she dies, to me, it's specifically the moment when Jean is talking through Xavier, and you see Scott realizing it, but then it's also when she lets Xavier go of that grasp or whatever she was doing, it's him realizing it too, and that you tell that that's a family losing somebody at that moment, and it just there's the one thing these movies struggle with sometimes. And they get better in the future wise, but these first two struggle going the distance with the emotion sometimes. And I wish that there's a little more they could done a little more to really hit the feels. But that's the moment to me that got the closest to hitting the feels.
Yeah.
Like the rest, there's good moments in this and throughout the rest of the movie too, where you can feel some things. But specifically that moment though, when you get Xavier in the mix, something about him that you just you don't like seeing him sad. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
And then, but you see him disappointed, or you see that he accepted this is what's happening to, you know. And kudos to Patrick Stewart. He plays that role so well without saying more than he needs to. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I agree. I put that to Jean sacrificing herself.
Mm-hmm.
It's so monumental of a scene, and it was executed brilliantly. And the emotional depth of Cyclops' reaction, of Logan's reaction, felt genuine. It felt natural. It was very well performed by both actors. Even when the moment when they were kind of embracing each other, crying and mourning on the jet, and then everything that followed afterwards in Xavier's library, the Jean making the choice and Xavier understanding she made the choice to do this,
Yeah.
which is what he's always taught his students, is he's going to teach them the best of his ability to master their abilities the best they could, and then go into the world and make the choices, the right choices that he thinks that, not that he thinks they should make, but he teaches them to make the right choices. And she knew this is the right choice, and I'm going to make this choice. And he let it happen. And I don't think he let it happen in that he could have stopped it. I think he let it happen as an I understood why she was doing it.
Yeah.
And if anything, it's comforting that he knew she did it for the right reason.
And I do like that Wolverine told Scott, look, I came on to your girl and she picked you.
Yep.
Because he didn't have to tell him that. You know what I mean?
No, he didn't, but it was...
He did. He did the awful. He did that one thing that he said, I hit on her. I took that opportunity of you not being around to steal her from you, and she turned me down. And
Yep.
I think that's a big monumental part for them too.
I agree.
Yeah.
I completely agree. All right, so guys, we're getting to our final scores. So, out of 2, Ike, what's the story for you?
I'm giving it a 2.
Okay. Characters, out of 2.
1.5.
All right, I gave it a 1. I was a 2 on the story, by the way, too, guys. Action and visuals.
1.5.
I gave it a 2. Emotion and stakes.
2.
I gave it a 2. Rewatchability and impact.
Yeah, this is a solid 2. I can watch this movie 10 more times.
Yep.
And the impact of what it has at future in the MCU alone, we're gonna find out soon, Doomsday, and also just in the future of the Fox universe stuff. It's very big to me. Like it carries through.
Yeah,
for sure.
I completely agree. Yep, it's a 2 for me as well. All right, so your final score.
So I try not to fill this final score thing out at the end or before we start, because I like our conversation to get me there naturally.
Mm-hmm.
And I love this movie. I have to tell you though, with a couple of the things in it that have bothered me a little bit. The most glaring thing being Rogue, truthfully. Because I can get over the jet stuff, even though it's funny to talk about, but it's there still. But the most glaring thing was Rogue. It was going to be a 9.5, but I definitely talked myself into a 9 to be fair and to be honest. So I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10.
Yep. Well, I gave it the exact same thing, a 9 out of 10.
That's crazy.
Honestly. Because this is...
How do we do that?
I agree with the Rogue thing completely.
This movie could have been a 10 if that jet scene made a little more sense and Rogue had more of a decent part. It could have at least been a 9.5, maybe even a 10. It had potential for that. It's that good.
Yeah, but no, Rogue is definitely a glaring missed opportunity in this film.
Yeah.
And it's sad because we do get better Rogue in the future, thankfully. Yeah. But yeah. And we're just fans of Rogue too. So
yeah.
Anyways, the official Goodell Multiverse score for X2 X-Men United is 9 out of 10.
Exciting.
Pretty solid number, and believe it or not, it does get better, guys. So
yeah, and that's just it. It does get better. Until it gets better, it's gonna get worse, though.
Yeah.
So let's
ride the waves.
We're at the top of the hill, and we need to take a nice little dive down to get back to the next big hill. So if that gives you any indication of what X3 is going to be like, at the very least, the X3, our conversation is going to be entertaining.
Oh, yeah.
This is where you're going to see the real passion of how we feel about these characters come out. Because in their own movies is when we're definitely, and X3 definitely is going to be one that we might have to do it a little earlier so we don't wake our neighbors. Because there's going to be moments we're going to be like, what the hell is this thing You know, because there's things in it that just why, you know, and but I do want to point out what's good in it when we do get there. There's a couple things that are decent.
Give the good their due, but also we are very impassioned when it comes to something you're doing wrong, and we are going to let you know.
Yeah. So I'm looking forward to tearing it apart and having fun with it. But also looking forward to getting to First Class too after this, because First Class got some good stuff. So yeah, this is gonna be fun. I'm enjoying this. X2, man.
If I remember right, other than this little dip we're about to take, because it's just from our memory, First Class is just like a little going up. So
yeah, I'm super excited for Days of Future Past and Apocalypse.
Oh yes,
they're both movies. They might be done in 2 parts, because like who knows? Maybe we've done pretty good at making these last good. This one I thought would be a 2-parter too, but no, we got through it good. But
then we're gonna take a huge nosedive when we get the Dark Phoenix.
We've actually even discussed not doing Dark Phoenix till after Doomsday and reviewing a good movie for you instead.
Yeah.
I mean, it's Dark Phoenix. We could do that on a branch play breakdown for 10 minutes and just be like, don't watch this.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
we will give it its due because they did make an X-Men movie. It's just that
2 scenes in it that are good.
Yeah.
That's it.
Even.
And the second one is maybe, but there's one that's really good. And it's too bad.
I'll agree. There's only 2 scenes that stick out to me that I really liked on it.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we both think of the same ones.
Yeah. Yeah. So we'll get there though.
Yeah.
So, all right, guys.
That one will be a sadder one than X3. X3 is going to be more fun and laughing because, you know, they fixed it with one of the movies, right? So we can laugh at this one now.
Yeah.
Dark Phoenix it's going to feel like it's going to feel more like a funeral. Because that's how the movie feels.
It does.
So, yeah. But
that's true. I guess, I forgot to say, 1 sentence final verdict.
Oh.
I just put watch it.
Oh, yeah. I mean, this is X-Men, y'all. This is X-Men at its peak.
Yeah.
And some of its peak, right? Like, I mean, and this is at its peak in a different version. And then you're going to get a different version of these guys at another peak later. So it's brilliant. It's so good. All we can say is, Ian McKellen, you are a god among insects.
Yeah.
When it comes down to acting, well, he is just, when he puts it on, man, he just puts it on. No wonder he's Gandalf too, right?
Oh, it's so good. He's so good.
I wish he'd say, "You shall not pass" in one of the X-Men.
That'd be good. Oh my gosh. Well, anything else you want to say before we close?
No, I think I'm good. That was a hell of a take on this X-Men too. I love that we had some difference of opinions and talked to each other and had another epiphany.
Oh my gosh.
Right? A couple of them again. And we still end up at the same score.
I can't wait for more. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, we vibe a lot when it comes to the X-Men, like to a T almost. So, gosh, guys, we're on Facebook, we're on Instagram, we're on TikTok. Please subscribe to our YouTube. Like all of our social media, follow us, comment on stuff, really helps us. If you enjoyed this episode and you just listen to the audio version, we have a video version on our YouTube page and vice versa. Wherever you stream, we are there. We just did our retrospective X-Men 2. Our next special retrospective would be X-Men 3, The Last Stand, which will drop by the end of August. So please pay attention for that, guys, when it does come out. In the meantime, we have a weekly podcast of the Goodell Multiverse Podcast, and our next one we're currently planning on doing is Spider-Man Homecoming. So please tune into that. By the time this episode comes out, we probably would have gotten to Avengers Endgame already, so you better check out our channel. All right, thanks, guys, for tuning in, and until next time, see you at the movies.